Last week we covered various topics, and you would have gained from the various topics that we covered last week that these are foundational skills for you to function in a UNISA learning environment. But they're not just foundational skills for you to function in a higher education environment. These are also skills that are important for you in terms of your employability after this in when you're looking for work as well. So as you engage with these courses that we are putting up and the training, think of it as a way for you to enhance your skills, develop those skills and competencies to be effective online learners, plus effective for the job industry later on as well. It's my pleasure to invite my colleagues who are joining me on this show. So my co-coordinator for today and our co-facilitator for today is Ms. Sophie Mombasa, who is our sign language interpreter. Welcome, Sophie, and thank you for joining us. We also have with us on in the talk today, in the presentations today, Lazarus, Aaron, David Alpestad, Pinchas Inguna, and the main presenter for today, Richard Wright, who will be leading us. So in today's session, we will also recap some of the elements that if you missed out last week's session, you are not behind. So we'll recap some of those components that are foundational, how to access the material, etc., as part of the program. At this time, let me hand over to my colleague Richard Wright. Now, you would also note, ladies and gentlemen, that we have disabled the cameras. Your microphones are also mute. So what we ask you to do is post your questions in the chat, and we will respond to some of those questions in the chat. So today's program is basically we will focus on digital citizenship, the Flip tool, which is an amazing tool. Many academics have already started using this tool, and I know there are students also using this tool as well. And then online communication, how do we communicate effectively? And then the most critical one, productivity tools. And I think many of you are looking for this. What can you do with Word? What can you do with PowerPoint? And then we'll recap for the day at the end of the day, just conclude what we've achieved for the day. At this point, let me invite my colleague Richard Wright to the floor, and he's going to walk us through the day and continue. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you, Denzel. So yes, so as Denzel mentioned, please use the reactions. Can you perhaps just show us a thumbs up if everything is running fine on your side? And then remember, your mics are muted and the videos are switched off. So please make use of the chat to really communicate with us. If you fall behind or if you need any help, we've got a team that will assist you in the chat. So just for the session to run smoothly, so just post your questions in the chat. You know, if you can support fellow students, we've got a lot of students online. Be respectful of others' opinion. Remember, we all here to learn. And then also we will have to go for, continue at a certain pace to go through all the content. But just need to let you know that if you fall behind, the content is online for you to catch up as well. So I'm just quickly going to switch on my camera, and then I'm going to ask the other team as well just to introduce themselves. So good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Wright. I'm from ADOVH, Academic Development Open Virtual Hub at UNISA, and I will be guiding you through the course today. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to learn a lot of new skills. Thank you, David.
All right, good morning, students. I'm David Hopstad, part of the ADOVH team. I'm looking forward to training you guys on new technologies.
Yeah, thank you, David. And then, as you can see, we've got Sophie Mabrasu as well. So for the hearing impaired, so that everybody can follow along. Now, we are going to also give away some prizes today. So you have to stay alert. So it's going to work that we've got three questions that we're going to post, and each one is going to be filled in 3 different forms. And the first 10 that complete the form will receive a prize, and it will be couriered to you as well. So I think a good way to start is just to see that everybody is awake this morning. Let's start with the first question. So I'm going to post in the chat the question or the link to the form that you need to complete. So here comes the question in the chat. So remember to open the chat window on your screen. So on this question, just what do you aim to learn today? So just click on the link in the chat, complete the form, and then let's see who are the first 10. I'll give you just a minute to complete the form. So in the form, just click on the link. So I see there is a few comments here to learn PowerPoint, learn new technology, and productivity, to learn PowerPoint. Okay. So I see PowerPoint is going to be a winner today. Okay, the responses are really rolling in. We've already got quite a few responses. Thank you very much. So yes, so we're going to cover quite a lot of things today. So hopefully you will, at the end of this, feel comfortable using these online Microsoft 365 apps. So I'm just quickly going to go through our agenda. So remember last week we did digital literacy. Working with computers, access information online. Today we're going to, also introduction to Office 365, OneDrive and OneNote. So remember, the recording is available and we will show you how to access the recording now. So if you missed last week, the recording for those sections are available if you want to catch up. So today, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to focus on digital citizenship. We all know that the internet is big at the moment and you have to be careful what information you share, how you access information. So we just want to set that ground rules. And then we're going to build upon that with Flip. We're actually going to then introduce yourself and we see, will you actually share any information that you shouldn't? And then we're going to dive into the productivity tools. First, Word Online, how to create an assignment with Word Online. Then we're going to go over to PowerPoint. And then finally, we're going to have a look at Outlook. How do you actually use Outlook for effective communication? So just remember, next week, we're going to actually have a look at how you can use the Microsoft Browser Edge in the educational environment. We're going to deep dive into Teams. So as you know, we are currently on Teams, but there's so much more to Teams in terms of creating a team and channels and also, creating meetings for group work. So please come next week for this one for a deep dive into Teams. And then we will end off that session with sort of looking at Sway, how you can create online portfolios. It's almost like an online website that you can share with anyone. And then also some of the accessibility tools that's built into all the software, and it can make your learning so much easier if you use them. So let's first, just for getting started. So remember for this session, if you're a NISA student, you need to already have claimed your MyNISA password. If you have not done this, please do it as quickly as possible. You only need to visit unisa.ac.za and then click on here, claim your NISA login. There is also instructions available that we will post in the chat as well if you have not claimed your NISA login yet. Secondly, you must be able to log into office.com. Remember, you sign in with your MyLife email address. So that's your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. So at this moment, I actually want you to visit this site already. So let's have a look here. So just go to office.com. I'm just quickly going to create the private window here. So you just go to office.com. And you click on sign in. So you can click on this big sign in button over here. So here you need to sign in with your MyLife emails. Remember, it's your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. Oh, so I see there's a question for last week's session. I will show you once we're on the portal where you can access the recording for last week. So I'm just quickly going to post here in the chat the link. Let me just get it here. Okay, so let's pop it in there. So on the link in the chat, you can just click on that link to open the Office portal. So here you just sign in with your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. Click on next. You select work or school account. And then you will need to insert your password for MyUnisa. If it's your own device, you can select, keep me signed in. If you're using a computer lab device, rather say no, so that anybody else after you can't log into your same account. But if you're using your own account, you can definitely keep it signed in. Nopsola, yes, you can do it now. So if you want to keep with the session, you can follow along. So I just also want to mention, so there is different ways how you can approach this session today. So you can either follow along as we go along, you do the activities. You can either sit just and watch today, and then afterwards complete the activities on the course. And then as well, you can even do it afterwards. So if you lose connectivity, the recording will be made available. So you can go to the site, you can log in, watch the recording and do the activities. So if you are going to experience load shedding or being cut off, don't worry, there is additional areas where you can also access the information. We will show you now where the link is for last week's recording. Okay, can I get just a thumbs up? Is everybody signed in to the Microsoft 365 accounts? See, there is a few hands, thumbs coming up. Very good. So the link is in the chat as well if you're still busy signing in, so while we continue, you can still access it as well. Sorry, let me just get this one. So secondly, so this is very important. Please follow along now if you can. I'll put the link in the chat. So this is where you access all the resources and the recordings. How do you sign in? Remember, it's your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. So let me just go back here quickly. Student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za and your MyUnisa password. Okay, so on this course link that I've just posted, so if you're going to open it up, let me just get it here. So this will open up basically a page like this. So it will tell you, oh, okay, you cannot access this course, please log in. So luckily you've already got an account with this, so it's very easy to log in. So just press on this continue button. So it will ask you, are you a registered UNISA student or UNISA staff member? So if you are a student, you select yes, and you click on this button, use my UNISA email account. If you do not have a MyLife email account, you will have to create a new account. So you just select no, and then select this create new account. But since we are mostly UNISA students, you can just select yes, and then use my UNISA email account. So you just click on this one, use my UNISA email account, and then you just log in with your MyLife email address and my UNISA password. So it should open up this page over here. Yeah, see quite a few thumbs up. So I'm just going to give you a minute. So please make sure that you can access this page. So remember, you need to log in to access this page. Okay, so I see there's a very good question. So you update your password on my UNISA. Does it sync across all the various platforms? Yes, it does. So remember, your Microsoft 365 password and your my UNISA password will always be in sync. So if you change it any place, it will sync up across the platforms. So the best place still is to use my UNISA under my admin if you want to change your password. And once you change it there, it will change your password for your My Life email account, and that means all the Microsoft 365 places. Okay, let me just post the link again into the chat. So just click on the link in the chat. I see they're unable to see your screen. Let me try and reshare.
Richard, you're visible on our side, Richard. I think the student needs to connect again.
If you are not seeing the screen, always also try to just reconnect. Okay, if you're not a student in UNISA, where must I go? So I'm just going to show you quickly. So if you're going to open up this link that's in the chat, it will open up this page over here. So if you're not a student, you just also press on continue. So you just select no, that you're not a student, and then you just select this one, create new account. And then you will need to insert to create a password, all of that information. I see there is a question about other statistical tools. They do provide the licenses if you are a postgraduate, but so your lecturer will have to motivate for the software licenses. And that's for statistical software. Okay, I'll post the link again. Let me also show the link on the presentation. So you can scan this with your QR code, or you can type in the URL, but I will paste the link in the chat now again. Yes, this is a separate website from my UNISA. Okay, so the link is in the chat. Will we get a certificate after completing the course? So how it works is after each activity, you will get a badge. So there's various badges that you earn on Microsoft Learn. So it's Microsoft badges that you can also link to your LinkedIn profile. And then if you complete all the activities, you will get a Microsoft certificate of completion. Okay, so I see they logged in and enrolled. What do I do after? We're going to get to that now. So you don't need to join all 3 workshops. Remember, the recordings are made available. I'll show you now where the recordings are. Okay, so on the page, let me just open it up quickly. So once you are logged in here, you will scroll down. So there is an orientation section that just introduces you to the course. If you want to register for the week sessions, so remember we do run week sessions as well for the following 2 weeks. That runs from Monday to Friday, and it starts 8:30 in the morning until 1 o'clock. So if the pace for the Saturday session is perhaps a bit too fast, you want to go at a slow pace, feel free to join the week sessions as well. You'll notice there's a pre-course assessment survey. So this is just to get an understanding of what you currently understand before you enter the course, so that we can align the content to your needs. And then there's just some information on how to access your UNISA My Life Microsoft 365 account. Remember, if you're not a UNISA student, you will have to access a free Microsoft 365 account. So make sure you've got a Microsoft 365 account already, and it can be the free one. You do not need to purchase anything. Your My UNISA password if you have not done that already. But most importantly, for those that missed last week's session, so this is Saturday session 01 recording. So if you missed last week, please come and have a look at this one afterwards, and you will be able to catch up with the activities that we did on OneDrive and OneNote. And you will need to complete those activities to receive your badges. Okay, so I see most of you are logged in. So just to see how this course is structured, so remember at the top is the prerequisites that you just need to get started. And then we've got the recording sections where we've got all the various recordings from the training that's been done. And it's divided up into 5 days. So this is to align with the week training that we're doing. So you'll notice at the top, basically we start with working with computers. Everything that we covered last week is covered in the first day. We also covered some of the features in the second day as well. So we're not going to follow exactly this structure as it is here, but we are going to do all the activities that's on here so that you do actually complete this course and you actually receive all the information that's being done in the week sessions as well. I'm having trouble logging in. What problems are you facing logging in? I've just posted in the chat, and somebody will help you in the chat as well. At what pace? So you can do it at your own pace. It's an open course. So until the 31st of March, we will be running the sessions. So as long as you complete it before the 31st of March, you will receive your certificate. See, there's two having problems signing in, so I'm just going to quickly show again. Yeah, so let me just. So what is the duration of the course? So it's 5 days, and it takes about 3 hours a day to complete the content. But it also depends on your current skill level. If you already know the basics, you can progress through it a lot faster. Okay, so I posted a link in the chat again. I'm just quickly going to show you again how to log in. So you're just going to click on this link in the chat. It's going to open up this page. You then select on continue. If you're a UNISA student or UNISA staff member, you select yes. And then you have to select on this use my UNISA email account. Remember, what you're going to do here is sign in with your My Life email account. Click next. And then this one is where we're going to submit or insert your My UNISA password. And then you will be able to sign in. So remember, if it's your own device, you can select yes here as well. I see there's a few questions regarding the submission assessments on UNISA. So I'm just going to ask David to share the link to the MOOC for my modules. And remember, on Wednesday, we have a session as well where we will be having a workshop specifically on my module. So please join that one for assessment-related issues. Okay, so if you get this page over here, strange that you are actually getting this, just click on the Advanced button, and then you click on Continue. That's very strange that you are receiving this error. But if you receive this error, just click on Advanced and then Continue. We can at least say the site is safe. Yeah, welcome, Prof. Now, yes, I see you joined late, but remember, all you need to do is, I'll post the links in the chat. So you should be opening these two pages in your browser for us to continue. Yeah, so we're going to pin these ones as well, so they are available for everybody. So these are the two most important links. So you need to sign into both of these platforms. Yeah, great. So here's just the steps to log in again. So remember, if you click on this page, the isiZulu Solwazi open courses, you need to click on the login button at the top right. You can select yes if you're a UNISA student. Remember, if you're not a UNISA student, you select no. If you're a UNISA student, you select use my UNISA email account. Click on the my UNISA email account button. So you just click on that one. It will open up the login screen for Microsoft. Type in your MyLife email address. Select next. You insert your password, and then you should be logged in. And at the top right, you should see your credentials. Yes, so all the activities are listed on there that we will be completing today. So you should have the site open at the moment. Remember, if you have not done so already on the page, let me show you quickly. You scroll down, there's this PreCourse Assessment survey. Would it be better to open it in Chrome? Yes, most likely you can either use Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. So I'm just going to post the link as well to the survey. So if you have not done the survey yet, rate your skills, please just complete this. You don't need to complete it now, but during the course of the session, when you get some time, when we take a break, just complete the survey. Okay, so that is basically how everybody is set up. We will still provide support in the chat as well. So in the next session, it's going to be more just the background information. So use this next session to make sure you've got these two tabs open. So what you should have on your browser should be the course, and then as well as the Microsoft 365 portal. So this will just make it a lot easier as we go ahead so that we can quickly jump into the activities. So for the next session, I'm going to hand over to David for just the introduction to what does it mean to be a digital citizen. Thanks, David.
All right, thank you, Richard. Let's get cracking. Time is ticking. So let me quickly share my screen so you guys should be able to see it. All right, students, so as we continued from last week, we did say we're going to do a little bit of theory in the beginning, and then we continue with all the activities. All right, guys, so we're going to start with accessing information online. So this pretty much goes hand in hand with what is a digital citizenship. So pretty much to sum it up, there's a nice little paragraph that you can read through, but really it's everything that you do online, how you access the internet, the World Wide Web, using your browser, using your search engines, and how do you actually engage in this world? Because you are actually part of a global citizenship, where everyone's on the internet and we're all interacting with each other. So it really digs into all the different elements from safety and security and the to-dos and the to-do-nots and things like that. So we're going to delve right into this. So for a couple of questions here, now guys, please use your chat. What can we do using the internet? So in the chat, just pop in one answer. What do you use the internet for? Okay, so I see some answers are coming through there. Fantastic. All right, that's great stuff, guys. The next one is, what is the internet? Now, Richard, keep our eye open here. Let's see if someone gets it correct. Not a Google answer, please, or a Bing answer. We want to know, what is the internet in your own words? All right, let's see if their answers are coming on. I see some interesting answers popping up here. Research, interesting answer. Kickstart ideas, link to everyone. Okay, very nice. Okay, good, you've got on the right track. How can we connect to the internet? Or how are you connecting to the internet today? Are you using a fiber connection or data? Is it on contract? Okay, don't have to tell us all that. But how do you connect to the internet? At work? Let's have a look. Home Wi-Fi, very good, yes. Data, fiber, nice. Okay, I see the answers are flying in here. Good stuff, guys. I really, really like what I'm seeing. So you guys are very much the internet generation, hey? Okay, let's continue. So if you were asking, what is the internet? The internet, or internet, it's probably meant to be intranet, but I see it's spelled the same. Internet is the global system. So basically, it's just a whole bunch of computers connected all over the world, and it really is the backbone of the whole internet as we know it. There's something else that we're still going to talk about that's built onto this backbone, but generally the internet is just computer networks and computers, devices, hardware connected all together. That allows us then to obviously talk to each other and connect to each other. Let me just quickly check my sound settings because I think I might have forgotten to switch it on. So let me quickly try that again. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so we're going to have a quick little video here. Let's see what Microsoft says is the internet.
What is the internet? With so many people living all across the world, it's amazing how connected we can be. We can communicate with family and friends that live near and far. We can do business with others without being in the same place. We can play games with people we've never met. We can learn and share knowledge, and so much more. All of these scenarios are made possible by the internet. The internet is a massive global network connecting computers all across the world. Let's look more closely at what that means and how you can be a part of it. Any group of devices that are connected to each other forms a network. Just like a network of humans, where one person has a connection to someone else through a mutual friend, a computer network forms connections between a group of devices. Any device within a network has a way to communicate with any other device within the same network. There are networks like these connecting devices in cities and neighborhoods across the world. These connections can be physical, using wires, or even connections that use wireless technology. All of these networks are then connected together to form a single, massive network that we call the internet. When you go online or connect to the internet, you join this network and have access to all the information that exists online. From sending emails to searching for information or video chatting with a friend, there are a lot of things you can do online.
All right, fantastic. So there we go. That's the internet. So it's really the backbone of the whole global thing called the World Wide Web, which we're still going to tackle. Okay, so what do we use the internet for? Well, pretty much communication. I mean, that's the easy one. Businesses are online, like your Amazons. You can learn, you can share, you can play games, you can interact with people you've never met before. So it's a lot of good positive things that you can use the internet for. It does have a lot of benefits. It's very cheap. It's relatively way cheaper than if you had to fly to New York to do business and then fly back. I mean, you can just use the internet to do business and opportunities, and it's available 24/7. There's lots of information. It's very rich. You'll see quite often on social media, people post about you can use the internet to study almost any topic at any time. It does save a lot of time because it's so much easier to access information. Back in the day, before we had internet, you might now know how old I am, we used to go to the library to find information, which was very slow because new information took a while to get to your library, depending where you were staying. So the internet just speeds things up and saves a lot of time. But then again, with every good thing, there's always the bad things that come. Addiction is very true. There are people that get addicted to being on the internet, just like being addicted to social media. They have to pick up their phone 24/7, they're on it, and they can't put it down. So yes, addiction is a problem. We do have bullying and racism. I know if you watch football, you'll see if a player doesn't do so well, what happens? 1, 2, 3 on social media, there's all sorts of shenanigans happening, which is totally wrong. So yes, it does happen. Spam and advertising, violent content, yes, it does happen. Unfortunately, people will abuse the internet for their own benefit. And of course, adult material, we all know that is a huge problem. So it's something that difficult to try and control all these things because it's such a global access and control. It's very difficult. So yes, but these are some of the setbacks apart from hackers and spammers and all the rest of them. Hey, so yeah, so obviously there are some things that we do need to consider to becoming a good digital citizen. Okay, so how do we normally connect to the internet? So, okay, most of us use mobile devices. So you've got your server provider like your MTN, Vodacoms, all the rest of them. We also do have the ISPs that you can connect to, your MWebs and Telcoms and all sorts of things that bring fiber to your home. But of course, then we've also got devices that you can use. Nowadays, almost every device connects to the internet. So your laptops, desktop computers, your mobile phone, tablet, modems. I mean, there's so many devices. Your TV, your smart TV, your fridge even. A lot of these things are all linked together now. So yes, the internet is pretty much connecting all devices together. Now, here comes the question. So if you were paying attention, we again you can post an answer in the chat. What is the difference? Now we're looking at the difference between the internet and the web. So what is the difference between the internet and the web? So I want to throw that question to you guys. If you were listening, you might have heard I hinted at it. Let's quickly have a look. I see people are getting errors. Okay, Richard will help there. So guys, what is the difference between the internet and the World Wide Web? Wow, I think I've got a good question here, Richard, because I don't see many answers coming in. Okay, thank you. I see there are 1 or 2 answers coming in. Okay, nice. I see that at least there's an answer coming through. Yes, okay, guys, that's quite a nice question, hey? Okay, just remember, the internet is the computers and the hardware and the software that connects the world together. That's the backbone of which the web is built in. So that's where your websites are created, and the web browsers is the software that connects to the websites that's sitting on the internet. So yes, so that's pretty much how it all fits in. So well done, guys, if you got it correctly. And here we go. What is a website? Now, what we do is we create a website. You use a language called hypertext markup language. We know it as HTML, and I'm sure you've heard of that word before. And you create it on your laptop or your desktop or any device, really. You create your website, and then you get a company that hosts it for you. They've got a web server, which then connects through the internet. So you connect through the internet to the web server, which is online. You upload your website, and then you advertise it, and then people then can start interacting with your website. So that's pretty much what websites are, and we use websites every single day. Whatever we're doing, it's an app or a website that we're actually interacting with. So it's built on the hypertext markup language. Now, your web browser is basically just the software that allows you to connect to the internet, provided your device is connected to the internet, but it uses the internet to get to the web servers to access all that data. We pretty much will be showing you guys Microsoft Edge, and I'm sure you've already gone to the Unisa website, and that's how you were accessing it through the web browser. Now, when you type in the web browser's address, we call it a URL. It's a nice term, but it pretty much means Uniform Resource Locator, a real ICT term there for you, which is pretty much the web page that you want to access. But we normally call it a URL. Right, let's see the next video.
Web browsers make it easy for us to access online information and interact with websites. Let's walk through how to access and interact with a website using the Microsoft Edge browser. Keep in mind that if you're using a different type of browser, you can accomplish the same types of tasks. Things just might look and behave a little bit differently in your browser. To access a website, we enter the URL of the site into the address bar at the top of the browser and press Enter. By the way, URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. That's just a techie term for the address of a website or web page. The browser will load the web page and it's displayed in the window. We can use the scroll bar to scroll down the page and interact with all of the elements of the page. Web pages usually contain hyperlinks that point to other sites. Hyperlinks contain URLs to other pages. We can hover over a hyperlink and the browser will show us the URL that the link contains. When we click on a hyperlink, the browser opens the web page in the window. If we want to go back to the previous page, we can use the Back button at the top left corner of the browser. To again navigate back to the last page we were on, we can use the Forward button. To avoid using these navigational buttons, we can open links in other tabs. Tabs allow us to open multiple web pages at the same time in the same browser window. To open a hyperlink in a new tab, right-click on the link and select Open in New Tab. When we have multiple tabs open in a window, the titles of each web page will be displayed here at the top of the window. You can open a new blank tab by clicking the New Tab button here. We can also open web pages in separate windows. To open a hyperlink in a new window, right-click on the hyperlink and select Open in New Window. To open a blank browser window, find the Settings and More menu at the top right of the browser window, and then select New Window here. You can always keep track of the web pages you visit using the History feature of a browser. In the Microsoft Edge browser, click the Hub icon here to access your browser history, and you'll see a list of the web pages you visited organized by date. You have the option to clear web pages from your history whenever you'd like, and you can do so by clicking Clear History. These features of web browsers make it easy to browse the web.
All right, thank you, Microsoft. Fantastic. So there we go. So it pretty much sums it up. Just take note, guys, this presentation and the videos is available on the EdOff site. So don't worry if you say, oh, I want that video. It's all there already for you guys. Okay, so now we're going to look at some more questions, and I want you guys to pop in some answers. Why are search engines useful? I'm sure you've used one or two. It's normally the biggies. So why are search engines useful? And I'm going to ask Richard to maybe pop up and check which answers are really good ones. And you can just jump in, Richard, and tell me what are you seeing on your side. You can type it up in the chat, guys.
It helps you navigate results for what we are looking for, access information. So yes, all very good responses.
Great stuff. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, students. We appreciate that interactivity from you. I know it's a Saturday and being at home, I know there are challenges, hey? But we appreciate your time being here. Okay, so how can we find content on the web using a search engine? So basically a search engine is a website that you use. And so how do we find content? Well, we're going to see that in a few minutes. So hopefully you guys are saying, well, we just type it in. Generally, just type in something called a keyword, and that will allow us to find things on the internet. But there are different ways of doing that. So take note of how to type in a search engine. And the little video clip that's coming up is going to explain to you a nice technique of using keywords to find good results. So take note of that one. Then, of course, we want to know from you guys, how do you know if something is credible or not when it's on an online source of content? So what do you guys think makes a information that you're seeing credible, or the website credible for that matter? Please post your answers in the chat for us. And again, I'm going to ask Richard if there's any good ones that pop up.
Let's see, there's peer-reviewed, different keywords, and search bees affect what results you search in your displays. So yes, definitely it depends on keywords.
All right, fantastic, guys. Yes, so we do need to identify if a website is pretty much legit or not, or is it maybe biased? So we're going to dig into these elements in the next video that's coming up. And then why is it important to think critically about the messages we come across online? Because what we're sharing online can affect other people. And that's what digital learnership or citizenship is all about, guys. Is in fact, what we do can affect other people positively or negatively. And that's why it's also very important to think about what you do before you do it when it comes to online. Because unfortunately, once it's online, it's not very easy to get rid of it, or it's almost impossible to get rid of things. And you see this so often with politicians. That comes up, they posted something once upon a time, and now people refer back to that thing of 20 years ago. You said this about that. So exactly, it stays online. So always critically think before you post things online. Okay, so we've got different search engines. The biggies are there, as you can see them on the screen. Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Of course, we're really much looking at Microsoft Bing as the search engine that we use. Okay, so here's some of the ideas that you can sort of think about when you're looking at search engines. Who published the content? So it's always good to see who's publishing it, who owns it. You can just do a Google search and you can actually find it very easy, or Bing search. You can find it very easy who the owners are and how do people see them. Where was it published? Which part of the world? I mean, for example, if they're posting something about South Africa, but the person sitting in Canada, is it really a realistic content? Could it be biased? You know, so those are the type of things we look at. When was it published? You find this often. You find this big article popping up about X, Y, and Z. But when you go back and look, you see, oh, but this thing was actually posted 2 years ago, and someone just not to make you think it's something new, but it actually wasn't. The truthfulness and integrity of the facts, now that's always going to be a tricky one. So it's going to have to take critical thinking and maybe verify, do a quick Google search or Bing search, some of the facts, and see what other websites come up that could maybe point to the fact, okay, this is some value to it or not. And how's it written and presented? Because a lot of people copy and paste from other people, and then, of course, it doesn't always come out like the original work. So those are the type of things that you can look into with regards to search engines and the content that comes from it. Right, let's see the next video.
Search engines do their best to provide you with results that seem most useful to you. However, they cannot always predict what you are looking for. In this video, you will learn techniques to make sure you find what you are looking for. When searching, there is no need for long or full sentences. Bing uses specific keywords to determine results. Instead of, I want to learn how to bake a chocolate cake recipe is enough. This search will show you different types of chocolate cakes, their pictures, recipe ratings, and more. Take advantage of search suggestions. These can help you get to popular, effective searches faster. For example, I want to find out the weather in Los Angeles. I start by typing in Los Angeles. The search suggestion dropdown appears. From there, I can select Los Angeles weather. Now, the top search result quickly shows me the hourly and 10-day weather forecast. I want to know the title of a song. A problem is I am unsure of the lyrics. I will start my search with Small City Girl lyrics. That way, Bing will search for the exact phrase in quotes. However, in this case, this was not the song I was looking for. Instead, I will remove the quotes to expand my search possibilities. Great! I found the correct title of the song. The correct lyrics were really Just a Small Town Girl. Bing even lists the full lyrics to the song as my first search result. Remember, you can use quotes to search for an exact phrase. Otherwise, you can leave it out for a more expansive search. I can also take advantage of Bing's search engine smart features. For example, I will type in square root of 144. A calculator appears as the first result with the square root of 144. I can use the live calculator for a different math problem, or I can even see many related web pages in the search results that answer my question. Another smart feature is the language translation. I can type in say hello in French. The first result will show a direct translation from English to French. Different ways on how to say hello in French and how to use it in sentences. Bing's search engine smart features can give you fast facts and answers to your questions. These strategies will make it easier and faster to find what you are looking for on the web.
All right, fantastic. I love the way they explain the different ways of using your keywords. So just remember, the quotation basically says exactly like that. So whatever's between your opening and closing quotation marks will always be exact matches. When you don't use it, then it tries to find it. I don't know about you guys, but that chocolate cake was such a nice thing to look at, but so early in the morning. Let me not think about it then. All right, let's look on the next video. It's also going to deal with
Bing search engine, you can find information about any topic on the web. For this video, I want to learn more about Mount Rainier. So I will type Mount Rainier either on Bing.com search bar or directly onto Microsoft Edge's address bar. As I type, Bing automatically gives me search suggestions relating to Mount Rainier. I can choose from any of Bing's search suggestions or press enter to pull up the search results. Bing searches the web for pages related to Mount Rainier and tells me over 300,000 results were found. Each search result is a hyperlink which will bring me to that web page. So if I click on the Mount Rainier's official webpage hyperlink, I will be directed to their official webpage. I can browse through the webpage, or I can go back to the search results page by clicking the back arrow button. So far, a link to Mount Rainier's official webpage and the summary is displayed. I'll scroll down to see more search results in various media. Mount Rainier's travel guide, their Wikipedia overview, images, videos, and more were also found. Bing gives me web pages to everything I would want to know about Mount Rainier. In this case, I'm looking for an image of Mount Rainier, so I will scroll back up to the top and switch my results to display only images. Once I click images, I will be sent to a new page that displays images of or relating to Mount Rainier. Now, if I select any image on the page, the full screen version will pop up. From here, I can also download the image or navigate to the web page that published it. Search engines make it quick and easy to find information on the web.
All right, fantastic. And now you guys see how easy it is to use a search engine like Bing. All right, so now one of the major elements with being online, and I'm sure you guys have all had some sort of experience, is doing a transaction, purchasing something online. We know the biggies like your Amazon.com, but here for South Africa, okay, I don't think they've arrived quite yet here in South Africa, but I know they're coming. We've got Take-A-Lot, which I know a lot of people use, and even Bob Shop, Bid and Buy. It used to be known as Bid and Buy. So yes, we do have quite a number of e-retailers that do sell lots and lots of items that we're actually getting to do and buy. Things like even your 60/60 and your delivery services, all of those things are pretty much online. So how do we know if something is a good thing to use, or a website is a good one? Is it safety? And how do we actually know if I'm putting my personal details there that it's not going to be abused? So what you can do is you can definitely read reviews. Pretty much social media is going to tell you which of the big companies are doing business. So that's also ways to do it. You can look at prices and policies. It's always good, but to be honest, do we ever read a policy on a website? Because normally it's pages and pages and pages of information. So you do need to know that what you're doing and what the legal requirement is from that business to do with your data. So be very careful about that. When you share your information, when you create an account, you need to make sure it's secure and trustworthy, that the website that you're using. What we definitely suggest is, guys, and I find this so often with people that come to me with problems in this nature, you create your email address, and the password that you use for the email address is exactly the same one when you go and register on the website. So if that website then is hacked or they sell your data on, which does unfortunately happen in some cases, then your email address and your password, because you use the same one, is then going to compromise your email address, and you might not even know it. So when you join a website, do not use the same password as your, for example, email address. For that very reason I just explained. Try to have it differently. Same with your banking websites. Make sure you've got very good, strong passwords. And we're going to look at passwords also coming up shortly. With a website, always check if it's an e-commerce one. What is the warranty, refund, the billing? How does it work? How do you pay? Do you need to save your credit card? Yes or no? That's quite important. And what are the policies? So generally, if you go through this, you will be okay. But also, generally, rather stick to the businesses that you know, because you'll get the best service. Right, let's see what they say about transactions.
The web is full of millions of web pages containing lots of information for us to access. But we should always keep in mind that anyone can create content on the web, so you can't trust everything you come across. There are a few strategies you can use to judge whether a web page is reliable, and if the information you find is fact or false. First, think about who published the information and why. While some publishers want to share factual information online, others are interested in making money, becoming popular online, spreading their personal beliefs, or even spreading viruses to damage other people's computers. Avoid relying on information from biased sources. For example, if you find an article that states that everyone should purchase hats because the weather is getting worse, and then you see that the author of the article is a company that sells hats, it is likely that the publisher of the article is sharing biased information. Bias isn't always bad. Personal bloggers who publish articles to share their own thoughts and ideas may present valuable information. However, you should be aware of the bias of any author and know when something is opinion versus fact. Next, check the domain. The type of domain a website is hosted on can tell you a bit about the type of content you're viewing. Websites ending in .gov are typically official government websites. Websites ending in .edu are typically published by educational institutions, and websites ending in .org are organizations. It's easier to obtain a .com domain name, which is used for commercial websites. Based on the domain type, you can judge how accurate or biased the content might be. Next, check the date. An article that talks about the most populated city in the world might not be reliable if it was published in 1999. A lot has changed since then. Always be sure to check the publish date of a website or article to determine if it's current and relevant for your needs. Finally, keep in mind that you should always check multiple sources. Avoid relying on a single source for all of your information. The more sources you use, the easier it is to verify the accuracy of the information you find. Keep these strategies in mind while you browse the web to make sure the information you use is reliable and accurate.
All right, thank you. That's a great video. All right, so we've got a bit of time to reflect. So I want you guys just to think about the digital citizenship, what we've been discussing about the internet, the web browsers, and I'm going to give you an actual 180 seconds. And I want you then to post what reflections did you come up with or what you thought about. You can just use the chat for that one. Okay, so I am going to put on my stopwatch, and if you are counting with me, because you know last week I cheated a bit on this one. Okay, I'm going to start the 180 seconds right now. So please do post in the chat. For the first section of the presentation, what did you find interesting, or what makes you think a little bit more about the internet and the World Wide Web?
David, Bobby, there's two good questions on here. So the one is, what are cookies, and is that something that they need to be concerned about?
Okay, cookies is normally what you eat at lunchtime. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so what happens is with certain websites, right, like Unisa's website, for example, a cookie is a little file that will write down to your computer or your device, which pretty much then helps your computer or your device to, and the website, to sort of remember what you've done. So it's not a bad thing. It's just basically a recognition that the website and your device has communicated, everything's in order, and you can then sort of remembers you as a user on the website. Now, normally what happens is, and we always recommend this to students, please delete and clear your cookies. For example, if a certain website crashes, and then you then need to clear those data and those cookies. So that information that was sitting there, you clean it out so your device and the website can pretty much do a handshake to say hello to each other again, and some certain little data that will come and sit on your device. So that's really what a cookie is. It's just a little file that sits there. It can't do any damage to your computer, but it definitely allows your device and the website to remember each other. So that's pretty much what a cookie is. Very good question, by the way.
And then the other one is, what is the difference between Bing and Google?
Okay, well, pretty much, guys, Bing and Google are exactly the same. The only difference is one belongs to the Google Chrome business company, and the other one, Bing, belongs to Microsoft. So it's really just a different ICT provider that's providing you with a different way of searching, because you can basically use both and do a search and actually see what really are the differences. But ideally, they actually are doing the same. They do have algorithms, which is basically when you type in a keyword, how does the search engine go and look for information? So that is different between the two businesses. I mean, that's their personal, that's their product information. They're not going to give that to us, but it's basically a different way to find information. But either way, you can use both. I hope that answered the question. Very good question as well, yes. Is there anything interesting coming from the reflection, Richard?
No, there's quite a few. Learned how to navigate the internet. So use strong passwords, comes through quite a lot. Be vigilant. Assess the information that you find. So very good reflections.
Excellent, great stuff. All right, students, so let's continue with digital citizenship. This is the last piece, and then we will be done with theory. So next week, you don't have to worry about it. Again, we're going to continue with what is digital literacy, citizenship, some of the dangers. Again, we're going to go a little bit more detail now. Signs of the safety, risks, and scams online. So how do we pick it up? This is very important for you as a student, and I will explain why when we get there. What steps can you take to be safe as possible on the internet? So that's also very important. Then you might hear of this thing called a digital footprint. So what is it? So we're going to look at that. And then also how to prevent or end cyberbullying. Okay, so citizenship, guys, as I said in the beginning, it's pretty much what we do on the internet and how we interact with other people that are on the internet. And it's in every single thing that we actually do. A good citizen, guys, respects the law of the country. So every country in the world has its laws about using the internet or being online. And I think it's actually tightening up a lot more now. So yes, so be respectful with others, help others is also fine. I do see some students were saying, drop me a private email, I can help you with the assignments. Okay, that's not a bad thing. Now you just need to make sure you know you're talking to the right person and not some scammer or something. Hey, so there was, again, the negative side. Take care of the environment. Yes, we are trying to be as green as possible now. So we don't want to cut down trees anymore and print hard copies, but we prefer to do things online. So these are the type of things. Now there's 9 elements and they all start with the word digital. So I'm not going to say digital 9 times. I'm just going to say things like commerce, communication, your literary or fluency, health and welfare law, rights and responsibilities, security and privacy is a big one, etiquette and access. I've got a bit of a tongue tie there. Okay, let's quickly delve into each of these. So digital commerce, it's the easy one. Commerce means buying and selling. So you can sell products, you can make products, that's not a problem. If you're going to sell other people's products in quantity, let's say, for example, I go and buy the latest PlayStation 5 game, and then I want to resell it in bulk, then you do need to get permission, of course, because now you're selling something. So the lawyers there will basically tell you what you can and can't do, as an example. So yes, so you got your digital comments. Then you got your communication, like what we're going to do today with Outlook, for example, using digital technologies to send emails and text messages. Your literary and fluency, that's pretty much how you accept the new technologies as they come along, how we use them. A big one, I'm sure you guys are all hearing about it, is ChatGPT, for example, which is mega. So yes, these things are happening and these new technologies are forever coming in to our spaces. And now we need to understand how do we use them to do the right things and not to do your assignments for you guys. Come on, don't do that. Health and welfare. We know now with medical people, you can have a meeting with your doctor and he could be anywhere in the world and he can actually meet with you to see how you're doing health-wise. There's also, of course, you need to balance things because using computers, your eyesight, for example, your wrists, they get damaged, your screen time, that's normally what they say for kids about screen time. So these are the things that you must be very careful about as well. And of course, now with online comes the cyberbullying that happens. And as I indicated before, the racist things that people throw out there just because they've got some issues in their own lives. And for whatever reason, they are attacking a person based on his race, which is unacceptable anyway. So these are the things that we do need to be aware of. Now, I love this slide. It's brilliant. If a product or service is free, you are the product. Okay. Put it this way, guys, in order to make money, the person needs to pay for that something that you're doing. So if it's free, take note, there might be other non-free things that might be happening in your device in the background. It's one of the ways that hackers can actually get into your device very easily, is to put something that's free, but it's actually not. Digital law, the rules, the online rules and policies, as I said, this is something that is happening globally from your typical spam, as I said, the social media abuse, this type of thing. So it is gaining a lot more momentum and trying to close down the gaps where people simply can do what they want and say what they want and do illegal things as well. So yes, that's quite a major element of being online. Then we've got rights and responsibilities, your freedoms, your freedom to speech and things like that, which is true, but if you think it's going to offend people, rather don't, because as I said earlier, if you post something 10 years down the line, it can still be online and people can still refer to it, and it does happen quite often. So we do need to just think about what we say before we say it online. Security and privacy, it's become huge as well. I said this is probably one of the biggest elements, and passwords, securing of passwords, backing up data, definitely your antivirus. Always buy a proper antivirus, guys. Don't go for these odd odd and wonderful makes that generally don't do much anyway. So yes, security is very important, especially if you're online. And you see this often, people's pictures get shared and whatnot, and it's online. And why? Because their password was exposed, mostly. The etiquette, net etiquette also, is basically how we engage on the internet. I know we've got something called the SMS language, so please do not use that SMS language when you communicate with your lecturers or the staff at UNISA. Please write up proper sentences, eh? But we also can look at things like the think principle, which is brilliant. The T is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? It's probably my favorite one. And is it kind? So the things that you need to look into. I'm so glad my noisy neighbor's just woken up, and sorry about the music that's coming through. It's nothing to do with it, which we can handle, unfortunately. And then the access side of things, understanding how to access technology, the limitations and the consequences thereof. Your digital footprint is pretty much everything about you that you're doing online forms part of your digital footprint. So your social media, so everything you're posting on the Instagrams and Facebooks and whatnot, it's on the internet. Then you've got your private web, which is your banks and your companies that you deal with, your Takealots, for example. Then you got the public side, your Google and your Bing, where you do your searching, your emails, your communication that you have with the university or businesses or to people that you know. And of course, your messaging apps like Messenger and WhatsApp and whatnot. So all of this forms part of your digital footprint. So there are some practices that you can use for managing it. Okay, it's quite a bit of text there, so I'm just going to skim through it. So things that you can do is to look after your history, because as I said to you, once you've put it there, it pretty much stays there. So you need to know, what does your footprint say about you? Manage your privacy and settings, manage your cookies. There we go, your cookies, guys. So clean them out every now and then so the website doesn't remember your device so it can reconnect. Your footprint can be live forever. So whatever you do on the internet, please make sure it will stay on the internet. So think twice before you post. Treat your online safety like anything else that you would treat it. For example, your financial information, your personal information, your reputation. So all these things are quite important for you to actually think about. Just give me 2 seconds. I think my neighbor is such a young man, but he's grown up so much over these last few years with his little kid. But he sometimes forgets that his radio on his car is extremely loud. So I'm just going to quickly move around to the other side of the house. All right, there we go, guys. Sorry about that. The noisy neighbor, I like to call him, but he's a good guy. Okay, and then, of course, your reputation, what people think of you. So all these things, guys, it's very important about you. And sharing information, personal information, you must remember that people out there can use that information to do things. So that's kind of why it's so important. And that comes straight into what I was just talking about now. You've got 2 different elements. You've got finching, okay, and social engineering. Now, these 2 are very, very different, but they've got the same goal. Your finching, guys, is pretty much where a scammer creates something that looks like the genuine thing, but in reality, it is not. Now, with a student at UNISA, we all know we've got My Life email accounts, right? So what these guys try to do is, and it's very easy to get an email address because it's simply just a student number. So you can write an algorithm that takes that student number, attaches it at the My Life part of the email, and the system then can just send it out to everybody. Now, one of the tactics they like to use is they say, this is an urgent email from ICT. We need to verify your information. And for whatever reason they give you a link. You click on the link. Then what does the form pop up? It says to you, okay, please enter your email address, which they already got, but they're asking again. So that's the first sign something's wrong. The second sign is they say, type in your password. Now, that's something you never do, because that's how they got access to your My Life. And once you got access to My Life, you got access to My UNISA. So be very careful, guys. If it seems a bit odd, check the email, maybe forward the email to any of the ICT colleagues in the regions. You can easily get their email addresses and just ask them, is this genuine or not? But the fact that it's asking for your password tells us it's definitely not from university. It's just like the banks. They'll never ask you for your PIN. Same thing with UNISA. We will never ask you for your password. Now, social engineering, on the other hand, is a little bit different. But what they do is they take a website and they create something that looks almost the same. So they say to you, to claim 10,000 million eBucks, click on this FNB link and join now. But it's not really FNB. It's something else. But it looks like FNB. But when you look carefully and you just check the web address, the URL, you'll see that it's referring to some other funny thing. Then you know, okay, no, obviously this is not true. So be very careful with social engineering. Another element of social engineering is the people that come to your desk or your office if you're working and you're going to log into your computer, but the person is standing with their cell phone. And you know what they're doing? They're actually recording what you're typing in. This is happening, guys. It's very real. So you do check what the person is doing if you're logging into your device and if they can see your screen or not, because they might be recording you, especially if you don't know the person. It's possible. Right, so how do we protect ourselves? If you were listening carefully, you would know that you look out for those suspicious emails or messages. They do stick out a little bit. Look at the website. So if they say click on this website, you can go look, but look at the address of the website. It should not look strange, all right, compared to the original. Generally, don't use a link. I mean, if they say to you, go to your bank, then rather just go to your bank's website directly, not using the link. When you enter credit card information, this is critical. You do 1 billion%. You need to know that this website is a genuine website. It has a good customer rapport, good reputation out there, and it's not going to use your credit card and be sold on. Okay, otherwise your credit card then is going to be exposed and people are going to use it like in lightning fast. Then you can also look at your browser and your operating system. Always keep them up to date because security and patches are there to prevent hackers from getting in. And make sure you've got your anti-malware software on your devices. That's like your antivirus, but the malware protects your software and it checks that the software and the devices and the websites that you're accessing are actually the genuine ones. So that's very, very important. So please, please be careful. I like this statement right at the bottom where it says a common way to catch a fish is to put food on the hook so the fish will want to eat it. Once they bite the food, they are hooked and then they end up in the shop getting munched. So be careful about phishing scams on the internet because that's exactly how they work. So if it's too good to be true, think twice. Be smart when you share. That's also very important. So when you're sharing your information with people, as I said to you last week, and I'm going to say it again, do not share passwords with anybody, guys. Especially things like your My UNISA password. Today you're dating this person, tomorrow you've broken up and you're dating a new one. Now that person's upset and they go and delete your things. It does happen. It has happened. So please don't be a victim to that scenario. Make sure your account is not public because if it's public, everyone can see it and they can see who you are and what you do. It's definitely your social media. That's very common to find people sharing things. You know, people are very clever how they get information from you. So think before you share. That's the golden rule. And make smart choices as well, because as I said, it's part of your digital footprint and it will stay with you. So communicating online, always there's a couple of tips that we give you. Just make you be comfortable with who you're communicating with. If it's someone you do not know, don't share too much information. Need to ask yourself a question. Why do they need to contact you and for what? Did you reach out or are they just reaching out to you? And how did they get your details? So those are the type of things you must really think about. Limit what you share. Definitely online predators are out there. They look for personal information. So be careful about those. Keep your distance, especially if they want to meet you face to face. I know with the dating sites that does happen because at some point people say, yeah, let's meet. Okay, but you're not really sure who that person is. So yeah, be very careful. Think twice. Meet in a public space, by the way. Not in a car park, like in a restaurant or something like that. Okay, that's if you need to do that. So yes, be very careful how you portray yourself online. The password one, as I said to you, if you were listening earlier as well, don't use the same password for your email address when you sign up for different websites that require an email address. Create a different password for that email address or that website. So in that way, you avoid having the same password on multiple platforms. You need to use letters, so small caps, large caps, put in numbers, put in symbols like hashtags and whatnot to make it quite difficult for anyone to crack, but easy enough for you to remember. Don't use common words like your surname or your username. People love to put that in passwords. So don't do that. Make it something unique. As I said, different accounts, different passwords. Rule of thumb. Your password is for you only, as I said. So today, yeah, let's not go that route of sharing passwords. But I do suggest if you're married, because if you pass away, there's certain information your spouse might need to know. I think in that case, yes, we can maybe go the legal route and share it in a different way. But yeah, that's something you guys will have to figure out. And of course, when you do personal business on public networks, like if you go to the computer lab and you type in your details and it wants you to remember the password, rather say, no, don't remember my password, because a computer lab or a library, lots of users use it. And if it remembers your password, it's easy for them to get into your account then. Not necessarily hackers, but just by accident. So tip 1, do not share your password. So Office 365 account, don't share it with anyone. Don't click on suspicious links, all right? Rather go to, as I used the example, the bank, and go to their website directly and then log in and see if there is indeed anything there for you. So be careful of the special links. Okay, so now here's a question for you guys. What should you do when you want to use information that you find online? Okay, so let's see. Are you guys, please post it in the chat box. So you want to use some information that you find online. Okay, so what should you do? Are they posting away, Richard?
Anything yet?
Okay, just shout out any good ones that come along.
Yeah, try and find another source, reference, make sure what the reference is to the content, verify the authenticity. So couple of very good ones. Check reliability.
Excellent. Very good. Thanks, Richard. That's excellent. Now, on this next question is quite interesting. What can you do to prevent or end cyberbullying? So, guys, how would you prevent it? Because I hope you're not cyberbullying anybody. So how do you think it's a good way to prevent cyberbullying? Please post your questions in the chat.
Okay, report the bully, block the person, report.
Okay, excellent. Yes, report the account would definitely be a good step to follow, guys, because we don't need people that are doing such things just to hurt people. It's really not cool. So yes, let's try and prevent it. So we behave like we should behave, even if someone tries to cause us to react. Remember, think twice, because once it's on the web, it's not going to disappear. So that's how we can maybe tackle cyberbullying. But it's a global problem, but we all need to do our steps. Okay, so what can we do? Best practices for using information found online. Okay, so if you have someone's content, there we go. That's what we do. We need to refer to it. We need to provide a reference and give them credit for their work. Same with copyright, guys. If you have an image that you like and you put it into PowerPoint, which is fine, but you do need to say, where does this come from and what type of copyright does it have? So if it is copyrighted, then you actually need permission first from the author before you can actually use it or sell the product or whatever it may be. So yes, take care of that one. Use the internet and find information online fairly and responsibly. Okay, so don't just copy and paste, or use ChatGPT to do your assignments for you. Okay, you must do it yourself. We want to be good citizens. Okay, so as we know, guys, cyberbullying pretty much means, well, as the word is, bullying, creating negativity, being mean to people. When someone posts a picture of them in a new dress, and what do? You respond back saying, good grief, you look like a cow in a dress. Okay, that is really not useful to anybody on planet Earth. You might think it's funny, but actually at the end of the day, it's actually really, really mean. So cyberbullying can happen in many of the spheres, okay, from messages to responses. So let's not do that, because it's really harmful, and you can see really bad things happen to people, especially the celebrities, with what happens with them. So cyberbullying is quite a nasty thing that we should try to avoid as much as possible. And don't share. Don't find something you think, oh, someone said this and this is how they respond. Oh, let me share it, because then you're actually becoming part of the problem. So what we do is we do have some best practices for promoting digital civility online. Live by the golden rule. It's in the good book. Treat others as you would like them to treat you. Okay, that applies to anything in life. So yes, treat others like you would like them to treat you. Don't send negative messages, okay, because it hurts and it creates a lot of issues. And at the end of the day, legally, you know, what you send can also be held against you. And of course, you don't want to go through such things. Respect people's differences. It's okay to be different. We don't all have to be the same. So it's okay to be different, but we must respect each other. That's very important. Pause before replying. In other words, get rid of your emotion that you might be feeling. Get rid of that first. Walk around your house, have a sip of water, then maybe think twice if you want to really respond to that person or share whatever online. So stand up for yourself and others, but that means being responsible, not trying to throw more fuel on the fire, because some activities can become very cruel and dangerous. For example, in the US, there was a boys that were playing on one of these games. I'm not going to mention the game, obviously. And what happened is the person killed the other person in the game. And what the other person decided to do was, because the person said, oh, this is where I live, you can come fight me if you want. And then the person called the SWAT team, the police in America, and the person, they went to the house thinking that this is a dangerous person. And when the person opened the door and he moved his hand towards his pants pocket, the police guy shot him and he was dead. All right. So as simple as something like that can turn into something very, very dangerous. So that's why we're trying to build this into you guys, that you must be so, so careful and be a responsible digital citizen online. Okay, so your social networks are good. There's nothing wrong with social networks, but we do need to be as safe as possible. So always check out your settings, like your two-step verification is very important, so that will send you an SMS code if you're joining with a new device, so that someone can't hack it and start messing around. A lot of people, they say, guys, my account was hacked. If I'm asking for money, it's not me, it's the hacker. That's a common thing that comes up. Accept new friends wisely. So don't just go by the picture, guys. Just because the girl looks fantastic, it doesn't mean that's her. It could be anybody. So be careful who you accept. And of course, be careful what you post. Normally with school kids, we say don't post a picture of your kid in the uniform, because you might be alerting to people where your kid is going to school. Okay, very dangerous, extremely dangerous. Don't do that. So if you don't wear it, don't share it. That's a very simple little rule of thumb of, yeah, goes back to how you treat people. You want to be treated yourself. Protect your devices. Definitely, we have to do that. Keep all your software up to date. So if you need lots of updates on your laptop and your smartphone, maybe go to campus, use the Wi-Fi in campus, let it update. Install proper antivirus and proper anti-spyware. Get a proper brand that you know, okay, you're going to pay a little bit for it, but at least then you know you're protected. That will definitely help. Never turn off your firewall. Your firewall is actually what protects your device from people trying to get into it. So the firewall is there to check who are you, what do you want on my device, and do I allow you or not. So if you switch it off, then you're actually opening your device to being hacked. Protect your wireless router with a password, definitely. I think nowadays you have to put a password on it. Make sure you put a good password on it. And just remember, when you get a wireless router, guys, the password is already on the bottom of the device. It's there. So you need to change your password. That's the first thing you need to do. Because anyone takes a picture of that, they can actually use it and log into your device. Use your flash drives. Well, now we don't use flash drives anymore, right? Because we're all using OneDrive, where all our data is stored. But yes, flash drives can have a lot of personal info. Download reputable apps, sorry. Yes, so apps that you know what they're about, they've got a good track record, and you know it's definitely the app you're downloading, especially your banking apps, eh? Don't just put anything there. And secure your web pages when entering sensitive data. So please don't share or let the device save your password, especially if it's financial details. All right, now we're going to do some questions, and then we're going to move to the next part of the presentation. Well, this Richard's going to come back, but let's quickly look at some of these questions. Right, so when you're looking at a URL, the address of a web page, how do we know it's a secure web page? Okay, post your answer in the chat box for me. So it's either A, B, C, or D. All right, so are we getting any answers? Okay, did you guys put in C? If you did, you are correct. HTTPS means for secure. Okay, good stuff. If you got the C as the answer, you're right track. Okay, which of the passwords is the strongest, guys? A, B, C, or D? Please post your answer in the chat. I think my dog is also trying to answer the question, but unfortunately, I do not understand Maltese. All right, hopefully you got A. Why? Because we got lowercase, uppercase, we got symbols like the @ symbol, and we got numbers. It's still not really a great password, by the way, but the concept is actually pretty good. Your digital footprint is A, B, C, or D. Again, post your answer in the chat. Hope you remember what a digital footprint is. Okay, so if you have the answer of C, you are correct. Pretty much everything that you do online is your digital footprint. One of the last questions, what is these actions is not violating copyright? Okay, remember we spoke about copyright and who owns the material. So which of these actions is not violating copyrights? Is it A, B, C, or D? I think, Richard, students could be using Bing quickly to type in the question. Sorry, guys. You won't be having enough time to do that unless you've got two devices. Okay, if you say B, quoting a paragraph from someone's book and referencing them, correct. You observe the copyrights when you cite the owner, and that's very important. Cyberbullying can take place. Is it A, B, C, or D? And I'm sure you guys already know this is an easy one, David, because we're listening very intently. It's definitely D. It can happen anywhere online. Okay, just to sum up, so we had a look at the internet, the dangers and the benefits of the internet, some safety risks and scams and how they try to get into your account. How do we stay safe being on the internet? Our digital footprint, what is it? And how do we manage it as best we can? And of course, how do we try to prevent or end cyberbullying? All right, and that's the end of it. Now we're going to get into the practical side. So I hope you guys are going to be ready to watch us. Just remember, guys, if you are using one device, I know it's a little bit tricky to use MS Teams and to watch what we're doing and following the steps. So maybe just watch us, see how we do it, and then when you've got time, go back and then practice it. Because the steps we're giving you, we've got all the steps in detail, so it'll definitely help. So while you guys are reflecting, we're going to get ready to show you what's going to come up next with Flip. Richard, is there anything interesting in terms of the reflections?
No reflections yet, so just A, B, C's, and D's.
Okay, no problem, guys. I think we're doing pretty well. I know we're giving you a lot of information. Just remember, all that information is on our site, which you guys have already joined in, and we'll again post the links for you. If you're struggling to get on the site, let us know in the chat. But yes, All right, so that's pretty much it from me. Still nothing?
There's learned about HTTPS. There's somebody that wants more information on malware. The question part was nice and refreshing, Vanessa.
Fantastic. Okay, I promise you guys, that's the end of the theory. Now we're going to be doing practicals this Saturday, the rest of this time, and next week we're just going to be showing you lots of really cool stuff, so do pay attention. All right, thank you so much. Handing back to Dr. Chetty.
Thanks, David. I think we had a 90-second break, 180-second break. Richard, if we can do a quick break, just for the participants to grab a cup of coffee or something of that sort quickly, and we can then come back into the practical, the exciting parts of these. Thanks, Richard.
Okay, so we're going to give you just a quick break, go get something to eat or get a cup of coffee, and we'll see you in about 3 minutes. I'll put on the timer on the screen. Okay, so the 3 minutes are up. So we're going to get started with the next section. So remember, I'm just going to post in the chat again the links that you should have open for this session. Let me just quickly get it here. So you just must have this one over here. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So the next few sections are going to be a lot of interactive, so activities that we're going to be completing. Remember, if you can't keep up with the activities, the recordings will be made available as well. The activity resources are online, so you can always use it just to see how it is done and then go and complete the activity afterwards. So, but if you are able to, you can continue as we complete the activities, so that you can give us the feedback and we can help you with any areas that you might get stuck at. So for this section, we're going to introduce you to Flip. So Flip is basically a new tool that's being released by Microsoft, and it's almost like a discussion platform, but in video form. So your educator, your lecturer might do a little topic where you have to go post a reflection, say on something, and a video. So it's a very short clip that you post to a group. So Flip is, as mentioned, you can almost think of like TikTok. It's not long videos. It's 1 to 5 minutes, say. We just quickly discuss something around a topic. So Flip also works with groups. So by doing this, you already get a good understanding of when we're going to get to Microsoft Teams. What is a group? How do you join a group? So really think of this already when we're going to share the codes that you're actually going to use this later in Teams. It's the same concepts that we can share. So you can actually include a description for your videos, a GIF, images, links, everything you need to discuss around a topic in a video format. I'm just quickly going to reshare my screen. So I didn't include the sound. Okay, so we're just going to watch this short video on just how to get started, and then we are going to dive into the activity.
Get started on Flipgrid in 3 easy steps. Step 1, join the discussion. Use the join link or enter the join code that was shared by your educator. Ta-da, you're in. Step 2, record a video with your response to the prompt. Use any of the Flipgrid camera tools and feel free to get creative. Explore, have fun, be yourself. Yeah, even like that. Then step 3, take a selfie and submit your video. That's it. It's that easy to complete an assignment in Flipgrid. Now watch the comments in your classmates' videos come in and the discussions take off. Let's start learning together. Get started.
Okay, so basically it's an area where you join a group, you discuss around the topic. You can do it directly from your browser. So if you've got, for instance, Chrome or Edge, and you can access these groups from any computer or device as well. So if you're not able to do it, say, on your desktop PC, you can always use your mobile device as well for the camera. And the main thing is to have an interactive, social experience with these types of activities. So to create a Flip account, when you first join, it will ask you just to insert your name, but you're also going to sign in with your Microsoft 365 account, and we will go through the steps right now. So for this one, we are going to complete the Flip activity at the course material. So the course link is in the chat. So you should be able to see this page over here. So it's the welcome. And we're going to scroll all the way down to day 2. And you'll see here's a Flip. So there is a introduction to what is Flip that you can do as well online, and an online course on Microsoft Learn if you want to find out any additional information with Flip. But what we are going to do is this activity, Flip. So I'll post a direct link to it as well in the chat. So you should be on this page over here, activity Flip. Yeah, can I get a thumbs up if you are on this page? That's one. I think we can get started. So basically, this activity, you'll just complete it online or with your device. So it's first ask you to do, so it's going to be basically an introduction that you're going to be doing, and we're going to post a link of your video at the bottom here. So the first one is open Flip with the following link. So we're going to open up this link over here. If you're losing video, maybe just rejoin the session. Okay, so we've got this link open for Flip. So the next thing that we're going to do is open the following or enter the following code to join the group. So you see here that you've got a join code. Now, this works a lot in Microsoft Teams as well. If you create a team, you can actually share code for others to join it. So this code is specifically for a certain device or a certain group. So on the page that opens, just type in this code over here. So I'll just paste it in here, enter a join code. And then you need to click on this button over here to go to next. I see there. I don't know, Winnie, you're saying you're lost. So what you need to do, I'll post the link again. So open this link in your chat. Open it on your device. Click on the link. You should see this page. So we're just going to do a short flip activity. And this is going to also now test everything that you learned in the previous session with David. Let's see if you will not share any personal information, information that might be, that you don't want to be out in the world. So this is just a short activity that we're doing before we get to the productivity tools. So you open up the website, you click on this link, info.flip.com. So it should open up like this. And then you just also insert this code over here. I'll pop the code in the chat as well. So the code that we need to insert here is in the chat. The code is on the site. On the page that opens, enter the following code, but it's in the chat as well. I'll quickly respond to you. David already responded to you. Okay, so once you've inserted the code over here, you just click on this button, the arrow. It will ask you if you want to join this group, and also how do you want to sign in. I'll send you the direct link to the code as well. Okay, so you should be on this page over here. Oh, necessary to hear about your network. Remember, we will also publish the recordings afterwards. And you can also follow the steps on your own as well on here if you want to continue. If you're losing perhaps the video feed, remember the steps are on this page. So that's why it's so important to have access to the site. Okay, so when you're on this page, you just select continue with Microsoft, because we all know now our My Life accounts are Microsoft's accounts, or you might even have created a free Microsoft account as well. So we just select continue with Microsoft. So here we will then select a work or school account. You might need to type in a login again with your My Life email and My Unisa password. And then you just click on sign in. So you should be on this page over here. Okay, are you all on this page? The first time you log in, you might have to add some additional information. So once you're on this page, you just click on this first topic over here, introduce yourself. Okay, Lome, all the best with your pet. You just click on introduce yourself. And then we're going to click on this record button over here. So you'll see there's already quite a lot of responses on here of people introducing themselves. So you just click on here, record. So remember, if it pops up here, it wants to use your integrated webcam and perhaps your microphone as well. Just select the correct webcam for this device. And then click allow. If you accidentally block it, you will need to go into the top search bar and then allow it for this website. So just make sure once it pops up the first time to click allow. You click on allow, and then you will now be able to record your message. So to record, all you need to do is you click on this button, record. I'll just say good morning, everyone. My name is Richard, right? And I'm guiding you through this topics for today. You record, and then once you're done recording, you just select on next. So I'll just say good morning, everyone. My name is Richard, right? And I'm guiding you through this topics for today. Okay, so this will open up the window. So we just click next again. So I can just give it a topic. So I'll just say, for instance, here, my introduction. And we post it to the channel. If you're on a mobile phone, it might require to download the app as well. That was never camera ready.
Richard, sorry, you're getting an echo on this side.
Okay, I think it's because... Okay, is it better now?
Much better, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so the echo should be gone now. So once you get to this page, you just copy this link over here. Create link. And you copy it, you see it says copied. And then we can go to topic. You'll see mine is now already posted. I can see there's quite a few that's already coming in. Okay, I'll give you the join code now. Okay, so remember, for these activities, you need access to this link, to the page. So you will, for this one, just have to have a microphone, so you can use your mobile device or your laptop. Okay, so let's just go through this again. So you're going to click on this one, the first one. You will insert the join code. So the join code is this code over here. Just enter it there. You click on this button over here for the next step. And should open up the group. Remember, you will have to log in to your browser. Just quickly going to show you again. So if we go flip, infoflip.com, going to insert the code over here. You click on that button. We'll open up this join this group. And you select continue with Microsoft. So you select that one. And then you sign in with your MyLife email address and password. So once you're in here, you'll see this introduce yourself. And you'll see everybody that has already posted here as well. So good morning, everyone. It's good to see the faces behind on the other side. Okay, so remember the deadline for the activities is the 31st of March. So there's another person saying they're lost. So I'm just going to put you the link over here. So remember, if you fall behind, the steps are on here. The recording will also be made available, so you can always come afterwards to come and catch up. So basically what we did was we opened the link, we inserted the join code, we selected the button to join, sign up. We signed in with our Microsoft account or your pre-Microsoft account. We did a introduce yourself video. So we are now going to basically go and we posted our video to the topic. So what we're going to do now is just reply with our code or the link to our video. So if you did not copy your code at the end, what you can also do is click on this the three ellipses at the top of your video. Let's see, they removed it, yeah. Or just open up your video. So I'll just say, good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Rice, and I'm guiding you through this topics for today. And from here, we're just going to copy this URL over here at the top. Say, good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Rice. I'll stop that. Let's see quickly. So you just copy this URL at the top. And this is what we're going to put into this activity here. So you just click on the reply button. So if you're not seeing this reply button, make sure you are logged in at the top left, top right, sorry. Yes, you can start afresh with the link. I'll quickly send you the link now. So once you click on this reply, you just paste in your link over there and you post to forum. So let me just quickly get you the direct link. Okay, so quickly gonna just post in the reply there. Let me just go here, copy this URL as well for you. Yeah, so if you're on a mobile device, you will have to unfortunately download the app. Okay, so I'll post a link as well, the direct link to the group. And remember, you can use, for instance, to hide your identity. If you want to, you can have all these additional options. Perhaps just use an image or an icon as well. Yeah, I see a lot of responses coming in. Hey, great. I see we've got quite a few responses today. I see that it requires me to download the app. Yes, if you're on a mobile device, you will need to download the app. See, some are very creative with their videos. No, it's not quiet now. We're just waiting for the others to complete the activity. Remember, the certificates of completion will only be issued from the 31st of March. At the moment, you can claim your badges as you complete the activities. So it's on just showing your face at the bottom right. Just select next from there. Remember, you can select this record. You'll have to allow for your camera and your microphone. Once you finish recording, you click this button to start, and once you're done, it will give you a button at the bottom. I'm just going to close that one. It's for the echo. So video might take as long as you get to the step where it's being published. The networks are causing havoc today, I see. But remember, the steps are on here, so you can come and complete this afterwards as well. So all you need to do is click on the reply button and you post a link to your response. See, there's quite a few posting already. Nele, Gumile, Kubile. Blessed Lipina, I see you say you want help. Can you just post in the chat and then somebody can assist you in the chat? Yeah, great, everybody. So basically, this just gave you a short introduction to what is a group, how do you actually join a group with a code, and then also to flip. That's a short interactive activity. So you might be seeing this more coming up, being used in assignments, for instance, or activities. So this is also a good way where you can just come and record your own videos, perhaps for responses as well. And as you can see, it does give you some editing tools. So if you get an assignment where you, for instance, have to share a video, a YouTube video, you can use this tool as well to create short little video clips and even edit it as well online, and then just download from here and you can upload it, for instance, to YouTube. But the main thing that we want you to take away from here is how to what was the concept of the group. So the group you joined was this SS4IRR, Basic Skills on Microsoft 365. And you can see it's basically almost like any social media platform where you join a group and then you can post to that specific channel. So for this one, as we mentioned, this is just a fun activity to really get you started. So if you feel a bit lost, please have a look at the recording again. We will post the code again into the chat. Let me just quickly post it there. Remember, it's not the code to sign in. You will use the Microsoft option to sign in, and you will use then your MyLife email and then also your MyUnisa password. So from here, you just type in the code, and then once it asks you to sign in, you just select Microsoft option and sign in with your MyLife email address. If you have to do it with other students, so what you need to do is you will then create a new group. So on the, you will just basically say plus add a group. So you'll be able just to join a group if you're a student. Or what you need to do is if you want to create a group, you need to just complete your profile, if I remember correctly. So let me just see here quickly. Just go to Flip. So if you're going to create groups, you just add a group from here. Or you can join a group as well with a code that's provided. So the code will generally be given to you by your, be provided by your lecturer. Oh, your camera is already in use. The best is usually then just to wait until after the session and then you can record. It's much likely Microsoft Teams that's using your camera. Okay, everybody. So this was just a very short introduction to how to create groups and then also how to share your links. So remember, once you're done, you just come here, scroll to this topic. Let me just scroll up. You just click on here, reply, and then you paste your link in here. So this will work the same for most of the activities that we will be doing. So if we have a look here, so we did the flip one now. So I've posted to the flip activity, and now suddenly I can actually get my achievement code. So you'll see this one it gets unlocked once this one is completed. So for those of you that have already completed, you should have access now for flip achievement code. If you click on this button to redeem your achievement, it will open up Microsoft Learn. And you can sign in, but it will give you this redeem code. So that means you've covered basically this flip activity. So once I click on this redeem, it will show me my badge that I've completed. So here you can see this one. So this is how all of them will work. So as you work through this content, you'll generally have the topic, you will have the activity, and then you can redeem your achievement code. But we will go next week, once we've completed everything, show you exactly step by step how to claim all the codes. So if you're using the app, you should be able to upload directly from the app as well. But if you else, you can just copy the URL to the to your video. So there's quite a lot. So I think we can continue. So if you have fallen behind, remember the steps are on here, but we still have quite a lot to cover today, and we really want to get you into the productivity tools. So for this one, the next one, I'm just going to share with you a quick question again. So remember, there's questions you have to complete. I'll post a link to the form. And first 10 responses for this one will also get a prize, as we mentioned at the beginning. So let me just quickly get the link for you to post in the chat. So please click on the link. I see there's just one question, so you can continue here to create a post. Okay, if you're having problems with the camera, it might be because your app for Microsoft Teams is also running. Or that the permission for your camera, there might be an issue with your camera as well. Okay, so just answer this question in the form. Let's see how many responses we've got so far. Okay, we're still waiting for responses. You can, on the video, the settings, you can delete the video as well. So if you have posted your own video, you remember you can delete the video as well. Let me just see where we logged in. So you'll just have to go to your video that you uploaded. Let's just see where is mine. It should be here somewhere. Yeah. So remember, you can always delete your response as well, just by clicking on the ellipsis at the top. Okay, so remember, Flip is basically where you go and discuss something regarding a topic, and you do it in a video format. Whereas if you're going to be doing, for instance, Microsoft Teams, Teams is for meetings. Teams is also for collaboration, group work. So it's got all the file systems. So it's a lot more powerful than what Flip can do. Flip is more a social experience, where Teams is more a group work. It's set up for productivity. And we will be covering Teams in depth next week. So please come for next week, where we will show you how to create groups, channels, to set up meetings, especially if you're going to be studying towards a master's later. They use groups quite a lot. Okay, great. So let me see if we've got responses yet. So in the form, in the chat, just complete the form. Yeah, great. We've got quite a lot of responses already. Thank you, everyone. So yes, so it's really a social way of discussing a topic. So for the next, I'm just going to put up the timer again for 3 minutes, and then we're going to get started with the productivity apps. So we're first going to look at Outlook, how to send and receive emails, what is the correct way to send emails, what you can do with Outlook. And then we're going to dive into Word, how to create an assignment document on Word Online. And then finally, we're also going to do a PowerPoint activity as well. So I'm just going to set up the timer for 3 minutes. So just get up, stretch. If you're still busy uploading the app or the previous activity, you can always do that as well. But take this time to just quickly have a walk around, get some coffee for the next section. Yes, so we will not be using Flip for the next section, so you can log out. So we're going to dive now right into the productivity apps on Office 365. Okay, everyone. So welcome back. So I'm going to hand over now to David and Denzel just for the next section on Outlook.
Thanks very much, Richard, for that. I'm sure by now the students are a bit more excited. They've seen a bit of the practicals and the potential that these tools have for them in their learning space. So now we move on to the Outlook. I'm going to invite David back with us. So David, you back with us?
Hi, Dr. Chetty. Yes, I'm ready and able to keep going.
Perfect. Thanks, David. Let me hand over to you. Thanks.
All right, students, let's continue. Now we're going to tackle Microsoft Outlook. So I just want to give my computer 2 seconds to catch up. I'm going to share my whole screen because I'm going to jump between the presentation, and then we're going to do the practical element. So it does take a few seconds. Okay, so while I wait for my computer, there we go. All right, so let's get straight into it, guys. So the first productivity tool we're going to work with is Outlook. And why do we need Outlook, or what's the purpose of Outlook? What do you need to learn about Outlook, guys? So while you're thinking there, please post it in the chat. Let us know, why do you need to learn Outlook? I'll give you a few clues. It's got to do with communication. All right, so what we're going to look at here, guys, is describe use of the email. All right, some of the setup options that we can do, how to send an email, and then also how to reply to an email. So again, don't panic if we are going a little fast or you've only got one device that you're using. The detailed steps, the videos, the recording is available for you. So maybe just watch me do this, and then you've seen how it's done. And then when you've got time, go and practice it. Okay, so when we communicate via email, we know all of us are doing it already. We communicate with friends, family, and of course the university. UNISA really wants you to use your My Life email account when you're communicating with the university. So please remember that. Don't use your personal ones, because maybe our spam filter or the firewall might block it, and then we won't see it. Because we're on the internet, we can send and receive emails electronically very easily. And we've got a whole bunch of different providers that can actually give it to you. But of course, we've got Microsoft and My Life. So we've actually already got everything in place. So now it's just a matter of us sending an email. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then I'm also going to show you how the email address works. So it's really important, because we've got a username, an @ symbol, and then the name of the email provider's domain. So when you're emailing your UNISA staff member, it'll be their email address, the staff identifier at unisa.ac.za. So if you're emailing a friend, a student friend, it's the student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. So take care of that. All right, let's go straight into the video.
With the internet, we can communicate with others in new ways. For example, instead of sending a letter to someone using traditional mail, you can send an email or electronic mail. Let's look at how email differs from traditional mail. When you want to send a letter or package, you usually have a few options for which mail carrier you'll use. With email, you also have a variety of providers to choose from, and you can sign up for one of these services for free. One of the most popular email providers is Outlook, but there are several others. The first thing you'll do when sending an email is compose it. Instead of using a pen and paper to write your message, email providers have composing tools that make it easy for you to write, edit, and format your messages using text, images, videos, documents, and more. Next, you'll need to decide who to send your message to. When we send traditional mail, we need to know the name and physical address of the recipient. With email, every email user signs up for a unique email address. Each email address includes a username, the @ symbol, and the name of the email provider's domain. For example, someone named Jacob Hayward, who signs up for an email account with Outlook, might use the email address jacob.hayward@outlook.com. When you know someone's email address, you can type it into the header of your message and send it to the recipient instantly. The message will travel electronically over the networks that make up the internet and will typically arrive at the person's email inbox within minutes, sometimes seconds. This makes email a much faster way to communicate than using traditional mail. You can receive emails to your online inbox from anyone who has an email account, even if they don't use the same provider that you do. You can usually access your email account from any device that has a web browser. You can also install email apps on your desktop and mobile devices, so you can send and view email on the go. When you sign up for an email provider, you'll create a password so others won't be able to access your mail. Email makes it easy for us to communicate online by sending and receiving mail using the internet.
All right, fantastic. So signing up, guys, there are different options available to you, like Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo. There's quite a few of them, so it's free. And normally they do give you a limit on how much space, gigabytes, that you can use. And then after that, they want you to purchase more. For example, I know Gmail, I think it's 15 gig. And then after that, they want you to buy more space because, yes, you actually will run out of space at some point. So part of the process, when you sign up, you create an email address. Now, for UNISA students, you know it's your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za, which is already created for you by ICT. So that's nice. With your account, there comes basic information about you and the password. UNISA normally sets it up for you, but on the general side of things, if you sign up, you would then create your own password. And then once you've got your password, you can log into your mailbox, which you can access. But of course, you're going to need to remember your email address and your password. And every now and then, hopefully check your mailbox. With email clients, you can also access your email on your phone, on your computer. Nowadays, it's very much connected to everything. So your smartphone, you can easily send emails. It doesn't really matter which provider you've got. Almost all of their email applications now will fit on almost any device that you're using. So that's pretty cool. So how you send emails, it might just look a little bit different depending on the size of your screen, but the same concept will apply no matter which device you're using. We always check your inbox, all right? And we do recommend students, please do check your inbox now and then just to see if there are any emails from UNISA. And yes, and then of course the message is listed under the sender and the subject, so that's quite important. And the date and time is also in the email itself. So it's very important to use proper English when sending the email, and don't type the whole email body in the subject field, which I will show you guys. All right, so let's have a look how to do it.
Microsoft Outlook. Create and send email. Select New Email. The cursor clicks the New Email icon. In a text box next to the word To, the name Alex Darrow is typed. Next to the word Subject, the words Status Update are typed. The email's body, Hi Alex, can you check on the status of the Contoso proposal this afternoon? Thanks. The cursor clicks Send. Reply to an email. The cursor clicks on an email. Select Reply. The response email's body, Sounds great. Thanks for letting me know. The cursor clicks Send. Forward to share with others. The cursor clicks the Forward icon. Next to the word To, the name Nestor Wilkie is typed. The email's body, FYI Status Update. The cursor clicks Send. A white check mark appears inside a bright blue circle. You got it. Microsoft.
All right, fantastic. Just take note, when the guy typed in the person's name, the system automatically then went and looked and found the person's email address. So it doesn't always happen that way. So if you type in someone's name, it might pop up a list of names. So yeah, slight correction there. Let's have a look with LinkedIn Learning, which you guys can join for free. You get a trial version. There's also training videos on this platform that can also teach you a lot more about the productivity tools that we're looking at today.
Outlook contains some different options for handling emailed responses. We'll go over each one so you'll know which one to pick that meets your needs. Here's an email that I'm looking at in the preview pane on the right-hand side. If I want to directly reply to this email, I can select Reply from the top of the email itself or Reply from the ribbon toolbar. I'll click Reply, and I'll send an email to Leslie. You'll notice that the attachments that have been included in this message to start with are stripped out. This is because if I'm sending a reply back to Leslie, we can assume that since she was the one that sent me the attachments in the first place, that she already has them and doesn't need them again. To save space, Outlook will remove the attachments. I'll click Send, and off my message goes. Instantly, the icon in the folder list changes to an envelope with a purple arrow pointing to the left, meaning I've replied to it. Let's click on this email right here. This one also contains an attachment. Leslie only sent this one to me, and I think Jonathan would be interested in it. So I'll click Forward. Now that I'm forwarding this to somebody else, a few things have happened. Outlook has kept the attachment in the email, assuming that whoever I'm sending it to would also like to get the attachment. I'll address this one to Jonathan, and I can change the subject. I can do this in a regular reply also if I wanted to. I can add any new information, and Outlook automatically appends the words FW for forward at the beginning of the email. I can keep this or remove this. It's up to you. I can also add my own comments in addition to what Leslie has said. I could remove any header information from this email. In fact, it's a good idea if I'm forwarding something along that contains somebody's sensitive data, such as email information or a signature file. I'll click and drag to highlight the text, and I'll hit delete. I don't have to delete this. I could leave it in so Jonathan can see who sent it and the original time it came in. It's completely up to me. I'll click send, and my forward has been sent. Now the icon changes to an envelope with a blue arrow pointing to the right, meaning it's been forwarded. There's one more choice I have. Here's another email that's been sent to me, Jonathan, and Chong. I can reply to everybody that's involved in this email, not just the original sender, who in this case happens to be Leslie. I can click Reply All. This is going to create a new email that's addressed to everybody that was in the email. It's important to note that Reply All will indeed send an email out to everybody that's involved in an email. So if there's a long list of names in there, be careful about what you say because everybody is going to get a copy. And you should also think about whether it's really necessary for everybody to get a copy of what you're sending. Would you be better off only replying to the original sender? I'll click the send button to send this one off, and the icon changes to that of a normal reply. And that is how you maintain all your correspondence in Microsoft Outlook.
Learning doesn't stop here. Discover more expert-led tutorials at LinkedIn Learning. Start your free trial today at linkedin.com/learning.
Okay, yes, we do have some free resources there so that you guys can also access that as well. But of course, we've got our site where everything is sitting. Okay, so let's go look at an activity. Let's do this a bit practically. And then when we come back, you're going to then sit and think about it. But just take note, students, please just remember that I know if you're using one device, it's very difficult to jump between and do practical and then try to see what we're doing on our side. So maybe we're suggesting, please just watch us do it first. The steps, the detailed steps and the video recording is available on the site so that you can then follow it in your own time without rushing and be able to do the task. Okay, so let me get straight into it. So where do we access Outlook from? Now, quick update. Yes, we're going to go to our browser. Remember, we're going to go to office.com. Now, let me go to the add-off site. Just remember, guys, as we've been saying to you, all the materials are sitting in here, the videos, the recordings, and the steps as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to send an email, okay? And we're going to send it to our lecturer asking about one of our assessments or tutorial letter, something like that. And we've got an attachment, so we want to send it. Then in the chat below, what we want you guys to do is take a screen grab showing the attachment in the body of the email, and then just basically say what you struggled on in this activity. So you can maybe just paste it in. I see there are quite a few. But yes, so when you get doing this activity, just take note of that as well. You can use the snipping tool. So if you haven't used a snipping tool before, here is a little interactive guide that will show you how to use the snipping tool that comes with Microsoft, which is so easy to use. Okay, but as I said to you, here are the steps. So step 1 says go to portal.com. It is linked, so you can even click on it. And then if I click on it, it brings me here. Then what do I need to do? I need to log in to get to this little guy. So, okay, no problem. I click on sign in. Now, of course, if you've done this already in another activity, you don't need to sign in again. You'll be there already, which is fine. So if you're already here, not a problem. Then at least those first 2 steps you've done. Then we say to you guys, click on the app launcher, the waffle. Now, with student accounts, most likely you are going to end up in Outlook. So when you log in, you are going to be here already. Okay, so yeah, you would be here already. So it might not look like this. So if that's the case, not a problem. You can just click on the waffle and you can click on Microsoft 365, and then it brings you back to this dashboard over here. All right, so if it doesn't come here automatically, that's how you can do it. But if it opens in Outlook, well, that's perfect because that's where we want to be. All right, yes, like now it's got pop-up saying, do I like Microsoft Outlook? Yes, but not now. Okay, so then the next step, let's go see what we say. So we got to the app is now open. Great, now scroll down. And then I say, click on new mail. So then I go click on new mail. And there we go. And then you'll see it opens up over here. But if you look under view, you might see there are different settings so that you can go play around with, okay, to show you how it looks. It doesn't always look the same, but generally you might find your menu, the emails, and then the new email box in this case. Now I need to type in the email address. So I type in my colleague, I'm just going to use Richard, for example, and then you'll see it starts trying to look for people as I type. So this is normal. Okay, it starts to try and figure out who are you referring to. So I'm just showing you that. Take note, CC means carbon copy. So 2 means this is the person I want a response from, or it's for their information that they need to do something about it. CC is just for, okay, just take note. I'm sending an email. This is what's happening, and this is who I'm emailing it to. The CC is not usually the person that's going to respond to you. Then you've got BCC, which is the sneaky one, which is blind carbon copy, which basically means I put a person's email address in here, but nobody else will know that this person also received the email. The only funny thing is sometimes people in the BCCs tend to reply to all, and then everyone knows that, how did this person get this email? And it causes distrust. So just take note of that one. It's not something I would recommend in a working environment at all. Just rather leave it, be open and transparent. Okay, so we type in the person's email address. Great, let's go back. Now what do we say? So who do we want to send the email to? I've got my person. What is the subject of the email? Okay, because I'm sending it to Prof. Richard over here, I want to put in my student number. I'm just making one up quickly. And then I'm going to say the module code. And maybe, let's say, tutorial letter. Okay, so there we go. Oh my gosh, and I'm typing it in the wrong place. That's wonderful. Okay, let me correct myself. Sorry, it's over here. Okay, so this is your subject line. Be careful you don't type in here the whole email message. That will come here at the bottom. Okay, this is the message body. This is the subject field. So it's nice, short, to the point with just your keywords, basically, almost like a search. Right, and then in the message body, the bigger area, this is where we're going to type in our email. I don't want to type that. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to type this super fast. Okay, there we go. I type it in. Good morning. I address the person. My name is, and oops, correct. And my student number is, okay, even though it's there, I was just being polite, I put it again. I have a problem. I can't find assessments. Where they're posted. Am I doing it right? So you can see I'm a little bit confused. I've got questions here. Attached is the tutorial letter. So I'm referring to the tutorial letter. But now I'm saying attached. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go back to our steps. Scroll down. So we need to identify who are we going to email. Very important. We've given you guys a link over here. I'm just going to right click and open. Notice I'm right clicking, hey, right clicking open. I just want to quickly open it. So while it's opening, this is the phone book for UNISA. So if you scroll down here, you will find all the email addresses you can possibly want and even contact numbers. For exams, for example, there it is. And you can scroll down, down, and down. And then as you go along, you'll find the regional centers. Maybe you're based in Gauteng and you quickly want to see the computer labs, then you can send an email to these guys. Now, the rule of thumb is, guys, for example, if you're from Northeastern, which is Limpopo and Mpumalanga, and you want some help with whatever it may be, please don't type in all the email addresses you can find. Just use one. Okay, so use one. We even told you guys, please just use one email. Because we will get back to you. So please don't assume we're not. We will. But if you keep sending lots and lots of emails to lots and lots of mailboxes, it tends then to get filled up. and most likely people won't respond to you. So take note of that. You add your subject to the field. So again, short and sweet, just put in the sort of the keywords that the body of the email is going to speak about. Remember, we spoke about being a good citizen. Okay, so things like address the person. If you know the if title, then indicate, say good morning or dear. Don't type in capital letters. You're not shouting at the person. So write a nice email there, nice etiquette. Greet the person, identify yourself, what the issue's about, maybe give some evidence, screenshots, or in this case, a tutorial letter it's missing. Included documents, a Word document, and I'm going to show you now how we do this. And then end your email with a greeting and your name, or maybe even a contact number. So here is an example that was created. Okay, so good. So now let's have a look. Have I done that? Yes, I've got my person I'm emailing. I've got the subject. I've typed out a beautiful thing over here. Just ignore the email signature. That's unfortunately by default it's there. So in your case, it won't be there. So great. I've got everything here. Looks good. Let's go back to the steps. Now you see, guys, I'm jumping between the program and the steps. So in that way, I'm following it step by step by step. Now it says, let's insert a document. Okay, so now it says I must click on insert and attach file button. Great, let's go look for it. So here we are. Insert, attach file button, and it's on my computer. So I can browse this computer. There's your OneDrive. If you've done it there, if you've got upload and share one link, so there are different options, but really we're just going to look at the first option. Browse this computer. Then I need to know, where did I save it? So in this case, I created a folder. Let's say, for example, I called it email to make it easier. And there's my tutorial letter. So you insert, you go find it, you browse your computer, find the file, click on the file, click on open. And what will happen is you're going to see the file now appears. Now I can see there it is. It's in my email. It's ready to go. Let's go back. Let's go check the steps. Okay, so I've done the step. I've uploaded my picture. I can see it. I can see the document there. What's the next step? Last step, click on send. So then go back to Outlook. Everything is perfect. I'm going to click on send. And there we go. But now the next question is, and I get this often, how do I know the email's actually gone through, David? No problem. On this side, your inbox is where all the emails are reflecting, right? That you've received. And because they're like this, that means they've been read. Then I go to sent items. Then I can go and check. Give it a few seconds because my mailbox is very busy. And there we go. And then I can see there's the email that I sent. So if I click on it, then in the preview window, I will be able to see who I sent it to, what did I attach, what the subject of the email was, and what was the content. And there we go. You've just sent an email just like that under your sent items. So remember, part of the practical is for you guys to actually send an email. Now, there is a little podcast over here about email etiquette. It's about 7 minutes or so. So please go through this podcast. And there is a transcript as well, where it actually tells you all the things you should and should not do in your email, although we did sort of cover them right in the beginning in terms of being polite. Then just remember for this activity, guys, please click on this reply right over here where you see the questions or the steps. Click on reply and then post in the screen grab because I can just quickly have a check. And I see, for example, the student has done it well. If you don't have someone to email, then just maybe send an email to your personal email account. That's also fine, guys. We just want to see that you can use Outlook and that it's working and that you can send an email to yourself. And there we go. So there we go. We can see some of the other examples of what other students have managed to do. So just remember, guys, I know it does seem a lot fast than you would like, but remember the steps are in our guides. There they are. Follow the step, go to the tool, apply the step, go back again and follow it like this. It will definitely help you a lot. All right, so that pretty much covers very basic of sending an email and checking that you've sent it. I'm going to hand back now to Denzel.
Thanks very much, David. As you presented, I can't remember the day where we once were sending posts by postal service. I mean, that time has changed quite fast for us to move into a digital era, and adoption seems to be much, much more faster. Let me now invite, ladies and gentlemen, invite Richard back as he unpacks some of the productivity tools for us. Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you, David and Denzel. I'll just quickly share my screen with you. Okay, so let's get started with Microsoft Word Online. So let me just, so we're basically going to cover what is Microsoft Office and also how to create and edit a Microsoft Word document online. But you are free to use your desktop version as well. So a lot of you might not be familiar. You know, you hear all these terms. It's Microsoft 365, Microsoft Office. What does this all mean? So Microsoft Office is a package of software application that makes it easy for you to be productive as you accomplish everyday tasks on your computer. So these are more the productivity tools that's within the package. So this is really for, you know, creating documents such as Microsoft Word. You might be using Excel to create balance sheets, and also PowerPoint to create, for instance, presentation. Now with Microsoft 365, with everything connected online, you can actually now share documents and collaborate on documents together in real time. And you can then also, as mentioned, always save it to OneDrive for additional sharing and for backup to work across devices on a document. So we're just quickly going to have a look at the introduction. Okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure you do have the sound as well. Yeah. Here we go.
When you put words to a page, balance a budget, or share your latest idea, Office is at the center of your work. Whether you're a pro or brand new, knowing the basics helps bring your work to the next level. With the latest version of Office, Tell Me lets you ask for help in your own words. Just type what you want. You can use Smart Art to share your ideas visually, templates to give your documents a professional look, and charts, styles, and themes to help your pages stand out. When you're ready, you can collaborate on a document at the same time with others. Share feedback and comments, and keep track of changes while you work together to turn that drab budget into a world-class report. When you're finished, store and share your files with OneDrive so you can get to them from anywhere. Explore the video courses at office.com/training and push your confidence in Office to new heights by getting back to basics.
Okay, so as you can see, Office is a collection of apps that you use, and Word is one of the apps that you will be using. So in your studies, mostly you'll be using it perhaps for your, how can I say, for your assignments, or maybe do your thesis in there. So there's a lot of uses for Microsoft Word, and most of you probably already have worked with Microsoft Word previously. Now, just also note that you will notice the file extensions here. So the old one used to be .doc for a Word document, but the new one is .docx. So if you ever find a document, you're working on a document that's still just a .doc, then please save it rather to the new extensions, because the older ones aren't compatible with the online editing. So always make sure the files are to the latest version of docx extensions. So I'm just quickly going to give you just a short video on the introduction on Microsoft Word specifically.
Your best work begins with an idea. And we'll show you how Word brings your ideas to life with collaboration, editing tools, and design. Start composing in your own words, and then format text with themes. If you'd like to collaborate, share your document on OneDrive with a click. Then chat, comment, and co-author documents to work with others at the same time. You can even make Skype calls from your document to brainstorm on the spot. While review and track changes, keep everyone on the same page. Polish your words with powerful proofing tools and style suggestions from Editor. And with a web browser or the Word mobile app, you can view and edit docs from wherever and whenever a thought strikes. Learn how to bring out your best writing with Word. Let's get started.
Okay, so you've got a good introduction now of what you can do with Word, and it's really became powerful, collaborating with, even other students on one single document. But before we dive into the activity, I just want to show you the Word interface. So when we talk about certain aspects that you know what we are referring to. So the top section will be the quick access bar. So this is also where the document title is. Then you've got generally a ribbon that you can access various tools. Now this ribbon can be like this one, or it can be the collapsed version where it will just show paste the icons for you to click on. Then you've got the document page. This is what it will show to your document. That's the area that you work in. And then at the bottom, it's also a status bar and zoom slider. So you can zoom in and out with the bar at the bottom, but it also indicates to you how many pages there are, word count, all of that type of information at the bottom. So once you click, say, on a ribbon, so as we saw now, you've got a ribbon over here, but then you also got groups. So tools that relate to each other are grouped together. So you might find sometimes when you work on a small screen, you will only see, for instance, font, and you have to click on font, and then it will only show all these various options that is available in there. So just note it does differ on the size of the device that you're using. So become familiar with these group names as well. So that if you're looking, for instance, to change the font size and it's collapsed, you can go to the font group, or if you want to do something in indentation or centering, you go to the paragraph group. So just remember that they are grouped by category. So for this activity, you will need to have access already to Microsoft 365 and also access to the activity on the page. So this activity is under day 3. And it's not directly going to the forum activity. We're actually going to use this one, the lesson over here. So I'll post a link to this one in the chat. So I'm going to share the link to you in the chat. So as I mentioned earlier, you can also use your desktop version as well for this activity. Now, just note, I've had a question yesterday on the email. So where they said that how do they log in? So remember, if you log in here at the top with your unisa credentials, so if you downloaded Microsoft 365, make sure that you logged in here with your MyLife email address, and then you will be able to reassign the license. You might have a personal one as well, but just sign out the personal one and sign in with your Microsoft 365 account, MyLife account, and then you will be able to work with the documents on in the Word software. Now, we are going to be using the one Word in the cloud, the one that's online. So you need to be able to access this. So if you're using a free account as well, you should have access to Word as well. So on here, you can click on the app launcher and just make sure that you've got Word document over here. But we are going to do this a little bit differently. We're not going to go directly to Word. because then generally the document is just saved under your files. We actually want to first go to OneDrive. So just make sure you've got OneDrive open as well. So just to show you again, so on the app launcher, just open OneDrive for now. If we go back to our activity, so you should have, for instance, now 3 tabs open. So it should be the lesson, the portal, and then also OneDrive. So what we will be creating in this section is basically this document over here. We will be using Microsoft Word Online. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder for our files to be in. So as we know, it's always good practice to really manage your files into folders so that you can easily find them again. And it also makes it neater on your desktop so you can easily navigate through different folders. So what we're going to be doing in this one, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it assignments, for instance. And then we're going to create a new Word document in that folder in OneDrive Online, and then call that, for instance, assignment 1. So all you need to do is on OneDrive, you click on this My Files. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit here for you. Here we go. So at the top, if you're on OneDrive, you'll see your name, and then there's a home. But I want you to go to My Files over here. So under My Files, you'll have all the different documents that you have created previously. I'm just going to delete this one for now. Yeah. So on here, once you're on My Files, you just click on here, this drop down the New, and you click on Folder. So just click on this folder button over here. And then we're going to create now a folder called Assignments. But remember, in real practice, you might call this, for instance, your module code. For instance, say you're doing EUP, for instance, call it EUP 1501. So you know all your assignments are in that specific folder. But we're just going to call it a general assignments. And then you just click on create. Now delete the previous one. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to create a new folder here. So we created a folder assignments. So now we want to create a file in this folder called, for instance, assignment 1, or perhaps your module code and assignment. So in the folder, I'm just going to zoom in quickly. So you're in My Files, you created this folder. So you'll notice you can just click on it to open it up, and then it's in this folder where you can now create a file. So you just click on New, and now we're going to create a Word document. So you see, it's a lot easier to do it this way than just to click on Word, because on Word, it will just save it automatically towards your files. Whereas this way, we know it's now within this specific document that we're going to be creating. So we've got this document now over here, and you can see it's saved already. But we want to change its name, for instance. So the way that you change the name for this document is by clicking on its title. So I'm just going to zoom in. So we're just going to click on here, Documents, and it will give you this drop down. And you can see, okay, it's saved as docx because that's the extension of a Word document. And I'm going to call this, for instance, let's call it my EUP 1501 assignment 1. That's an example. And then all you do is you press enter. You'll notice now this document has been saved as under the new name EUP 1501 Assignment 1. Okay. So then we go back to this document. So we basically followed these steps. We created a new folder in OneDrive. We then renamed it assignments. And then within that, we created a Word document. And now we can actually start working with that document. So just a reminder, when we talk about the document quick access bar, it's the one at the top. It's the ribbon, is all the tools that's under each of these quick access bars. And the document title is the one at the top, what we clicked on to change the name of the file. Okay, so now that we have our document, so we've got our assignment 1 document already that we can start working on. Now we can start with the document setup. So for instance, we page size, the margins, paragraph spacing. A lot of times when you get assignments, you will get, for instance, instructions that it must be double spacing or the margin must be a certain type on the side. So for this one, we're just going to set up all of these various aspects. So we're going to start off with to make sure that the size is A4. So how we do this, we're going to click on the document. We go to layout. We go to size. So let me just zoom in a bit. So you'll go onto the layout tab, click on the size drop down, and then select A4. So you can see by default it's letter, and we actually want this to be A4. And then it's saved. So just make sure layout A4, select A4. Now the next step, so the next one is, say we want to change the margins on this one. So we want to set a custom margin. So you get a lot of times where you might be requested to say the right margin must be a certain width for easy marking, for instance, or anything for who's going to consume the document. So what we're going to do here is on our document, we're just going to click on margins. And then right at the bottom, click custom margins. So you'll notice here, it's set to inches online. So a lot of times if your desktop is set up correctly, it will be in centimeters. But the online versions, a lot of times they revert back to inches. So just make sure you can go to OneDrive to go and set your location, and then it will usually revert back to centimeters if you refresh. But if you are using, how can I say, I've not set up your regional locations like we did in last week's session, it might come up as inches like this one. So if it's in inches, remember just, and you don't know how to change it, for instance, and so it says for you 3 centimeters, you can just quickly Google, the conversion and then just type that in. So for this one, it says 3 centimeters, so it's about 1.2 inches. So if I go back to my document, I'll just increase the right margin to 1.2. It's like that. So then the next one, it will also, we want the readability, so the paragraph spacing by setting the spacing after to 12 points. So this is the spacing between the lines of text. So let's go have a look to do that. So we just go back to our document. And then we can go here spacing after, or we can go to paragraph options. So you just click on the 3 ellipses at the end. Paragraph options. And so we want after to be 12 points. or wait, we want the line spacing to be 1.5. Sorry. Line spacing 1.5. And then we can just click OK. So yes, if you are struggling, so remember the steps are on here that you can follow along. So, and the recording will also be made available. But if you are keeping with us, please continue to do so. So basically, we've now set up our document. So we've made sure it's an A4 paper size. We've got the margins on the right, so it's a little bit wider. We opened up the paragraph spacing, and we created a spacing afterwards of 12 points. I actually did not do that one. We can actually do it here as well. So we just set it to 12. But remember, we had it in here as well after 12 points, and then line spacing 1.5. So we've got now our spacings correct. So the next one is they want us to change the Arial and the font type to set to from Calibri. So by default, it's Calibri 11, but we wanted Arial 12. So I'm just going to go back into my document. So we'll have to go to the Home ribbon. I go here, Home. You'll notice here it says Calibri. I'm just going to select here Arial. Now you'll notice there the most recently used is pinned, and also there is some pinned fonts as well. So you might need to click on this button just to minimize it so that you can actually see all the Office fonts. So Arial is under Office fonts. So you'll generally click here, and then you will have Arial. So just make sure if you're not seeing Arial at this dropdown, just click on this button to hide the pinned fonts and the most recently used, and open up the Office fonts to select Arial. And we also want this one to be 12. So we change the font size to 12. Yeah, there's no questions. So we've got now our document. So we're going to be using Arial 12 points. Now we also want to set it that we are in South Africa. So by default, it usually goes to English United States. But we want it for the reviewing purposes, spelling and grammar. We want to make sure that this is set to our method of spelling. So all I need to do is I go to the Review tab. I just click the Review tab. I click on this Editor dropdown. And I set proofing language. So just go to the Review tab, the Editor, and then set proofing language. So here we will then have to find English South Africa. So on this document, you'll have all these various options. If English South Africa is not at the top for you, you'll have to just scroll down through the list until you find English South Africa. So now we know when it checks the spelling, it's not the American method of spelling. It's set up for South African grammar and spelling. So then we know when we're going to check our spelling, it will be correct. So if we go back to our steps over here and go to our next document step. So now this is a very important part, is we want text to work with. So we don't expect you to type everything out that's in this document. We actually have a document for you at the bottom. So just note here, copy the started text from the linked file below. So what you need to do here is scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see here's a started text. So just click on this one and we'll open up this information here. So I'll give you the link to it as well. I'm just going to say they start text. Okay. So how would we now copy over this text over here? So as you know, we can drag over everything, right click on it, copy, and then go back into the other one. Then you're going to get a message to say that you can't paste depending on your browser. So it's always good to learn the shortcuts. So for instance, if I press Control A, it will select all the text. So you can see it's very quick. It's Control, you're holding Control and A. And then if I want to copy, it's Control and C. So I know I've copied everything. Now if I go to my document and I Control V, it's going to keep that font and text that we had from that file. So you can do this and then just select Control A again to change the font. Or we can also Control Shift V. So if I go here, Home, Paste, it will give me this option. So it says your browser can't access the clipboard, so you use these shortcuts. So Control X is cut, copy is Control C, paste is Control V, and then paste text only. That very helps a lot, especially if you're going to do, for instance, forum activities online. Then say you want to copy the text, but you don't want to keep the formatting so that it from, say, the Word document that you're working from. And so Control Shift V is quite a nice way to paste text. So it doesn't keep the formatting, but it actually goes to the documents for formatting. So we can go Control Shift V. You'll notice it pasted it now that it doesn't keep the formatting like we had in this document. So it doesn't look like this anymore. It now actually adopted the document's font. So yeah, I can just then easily Control A again to select all the text. And then I can set this to 12 like we wanted to, and then also Arial. Okay, great. So now we've at least got some text, so we don't need to type out all of the things that is on here. So now we can go to the next step. So basically what we want to do on the next step is just to quickly check all the grammar and the spelling on this document. So this is actually a very nice tool. It has changed, from past versions with spelling. So you check the spelling and then you check the grammar. But now we can actually go to the Review tab. You just zoom in for you. So Review. And then you just click on this editor. And this will open up the editor on the right-hand side. So we'll give you those options over here, editor. Now you'll notice there, for instance, it says our grammar is fine. It's just the spelling that we need to check. So if I click on this editor, the editor, as I mentioned, it will open up. I can just go here to spelling. And if I click on this spelling, it will give me the correct spelling for that word. So remember, a red squiggly line is usually spelling. And if it's like a purplish line, then it's for grammar. So if I just click on this, it will take me to there, and I can easily select this word. Okay, that's the correct spelling. It jumps to the next one, and then I can select what is the correct word for this. Now, just a note, sometimes you might, for instance, your name might come up as being spelled incorrectly. Then all you need to do is select here, ignore all, or you can even add to dictionary. So if it's your name, and you can add it to the dictionary, so you do not need to ignore it again or get this warnings that it is spelled incorrectly. So here, I'm just going to click on spelling again to go to the word, and I can select the correct word. So now we can see our editor score is 92%. So we got a well-formatted document. So there is also some recommendations it might give. So, change it to yes, for instance, punctuations. But since we are working with text from a play, we will not be changing the existing text. So this is a very important part here, the structuring your document. So for this one, we're just going to use page breaks. So what we do see a lot is, say you go to question 1, and I want question 1 to be on a new page. So you get a lot of people, they will press enter to put it to the next page. Now the problem with that is, say I do this, and I put question 1 now, say on this new page over here. Now if I change something here, you'll notice everything moves down. So never use the enter to create spacing or move something to a new page. So what you need to do is just on your page, put your cursor in front of the word. Let me just zoom in a bit here as well. So you just put your cursor in front of it, and then you go insert, and it's called page break. So it's very easy. You just go insert, page break. On the insert ribbon, just page break. Just make sure your cursor is in front of the word, and this will move it to the next page. So you can see there's now a page break over here. Now, if I move anything here, you'll notice it still stays on the next page. So I don't have to come back down to it and move it up or anything like that. So we're just going to do insert the page breaks for this one, for all the questions. So I also got a question 2 here, and I could see, okay, it must also go to the next page because we want it to be structured so it's easier to read. It's my cover page, it's my question 1 page, and then my second question. So I also just insert a page break over there. So now you can see it's already, from the initial text we had, you can't really make out what's going on here. Now it's already starting to get shape the way it looks. So if we continue with the activity, we go to the next page. So the next one is formatting text. So remember, formatting text will really make it stand out and make it clear what is important, what is headings. So there is, if you go to the advanced version, you can have predefined styles. But we're just going to, for this one, just going to have a look at the basics of how to change the font size and also how to the font weight. So what it asks me here to do is to center the assignment number and unique number line. So what I need to do here is just go to my document. I'll scroll all the way up. And you'll notice here we've got the module code, the assignment number, and unique number. And I'm just going to center these ones. So I'll go to the home ribbon. Remember, as we said previously, so for instance, this one is collapsed. So this is the paragraph group. So I'll click on text alignment and then just center those ones. So I can also insert here, for instance, a module code. So I'll put in, for instance, EUP 1501. We know it's assignment 1. Maybe it's got a unique code of 12345. So this is all the information that you generally get from your assignment documents. Then remember, you can also put in your name, the student number. I'm just going to leave like that for now, and we put in the date that is due. So I'm going to say for today, Saturday, or 18 March 2023. Okay, so if we go back to our document over here, so let's select the module code, assignment number, and we center all the text. With the same selection, change the font weight to bold. So that means we want to change all of these to bold. Select only the module code and change the font to size 48. So we only want to select this one, 48. So remember, you can use your mouse to select, drag, and drop on the mobile phone. It's sometimes a little bit harder. You have to double tap, for instance, and then drag. You can also use shortcuts. So for instance, if I hold in Shift and go to the side with my arrow key, then I can also select. So whatever is the most comfortable to you, you can use to interact with this. So just ask us to select the EUP module code and make it 48 font size. Yes, to font size 48. Select the assignment and unique number and change the font size to 28. So remember, I only want this text, so I deselect the other one and I make this one 28. Yes, 28. There we go. If I zoom out, you can already see this becomes more like a nice cover page. So if we follow the steps on here, the cover text is now beautifully formatted, but the spacing of the text can be improved. Oh, we also want to just make the other ones 18. So everything that's left on this page, we just give it a font size of 18. And we also want to center this one. So from the paragraph, we just center it again. So then it just asks us to create more spacing, because as you can see, it's still, everything is scrunched up here at the bottom of the page. So we can just perhaps put some line spacings in here to make it really spread out over the page. But remember, we don't want to do too much so that we create a page break where it goes onto a new page. There we go. So that's how our document is starting to look. And you notice if you work online, it saves automatically. The same with your Word documents. If you work with your desktop version, always have a look that you signed in. And if you first save the file to OneDrive, so if I go, for instance, browse to my OneDrive folder, just go up to where it is, say OneDrive. So you'll see then it changes to autosave. So always make sure this autosave is in, because then you know also it's saving to OneDrive and it's automatically saving. So you don't have to remember to save, and you know, to avoid the risk of losing documents as well, losing your information that you've worked on. We've seen it quite a lot in the labs, especially with people working with USBs as well. Rather get in the habit, sign into OneDrive, use OneDrive, so you don't lose any of the information. Now, I also just want to, if we continue the steps over here, so just place a cursor at the beginning. So so our cover page is now easily readable. But what about question 1 and question 2? So let's have a look at that. So we'll see this one, question 1, for instance. We want to make that one also bold. Let's say also 28. So we know that's question 1. And then we also format this one to 28 and bold. You can see now it's already a lot easier to read. But you'll notice these ones, for instance, question 1. You'll see here it's actually a bulleted list. So we perhaps want to make this, you know, a list to say, okay, that's question 1, 2, and 3. So how would we do this? We actually just highlight all of them and select the bulleted list from the home ribbon. Let me just show you here. So with this text selected, I will select here numbering, because say the questions are numbered 1, 2, 3. Remember, there is additional numbering as well, and also multi-level numbering. So you can definitely explore the other ones as well for this, depending on how your document is structured. Now, also, if we go down here, you'll notice this is in quotes. So usually if you've got a quotation in your document, you usually indicate it by wrapping it in its paraphrases. But if we want to, make it really stand out that this is a quote, we can actually make it italic. So from the home ribbon, we can just simply click on italic. And if we really want it to stand out that it's a quotation, a lot of times you will hear the term indentation. So if we open up this one, so I want this to indent a little bit. So you'll see here at the top, also under the paragraph section, there's this indentation. So I can indent it quite easily. So now you'll see it's slightly indented. So if I zoom out, you can easily see this is a quotation that's being inserted into this document. So remember, the indentation also works with numbering. So if I click, for instance, that 2, say it's a number underneath number 1, a subtopic, it can use indentation. If I wanted to go back, I just click the opposite way. So remember, just if you've got, you want to make multiple levels and you don't know how to indent them, you can use these ones at the top, and it's just to increase and decrease the indentation. Okay, so we've got a well-looking document at the moment. It's very easily readable. If you compare it to what we started off with, we can't make out, and now just through formatting the text and everything in the font weights is a lot easier to read. So the next one, the questions, it will just ask you to add a question 3 and then a table. All you need to do for this activity is you're going to basically go to the bottom. Remember, we want now a new page. So what are we going to do? We insert a page break again. So we just go to the new page. You just go back and make sure that you're not still on italic. So I'm just made sure that it's not italic. And then I can insert here question 3, for instance. And if we want to stay with our formatting that we had previously, all I do is then I make it bold as well, and also the font weight of 26. So now it wants us to insert a table. So inserting tables, you will use it quite a lot, if you've got questions or you want to display data in a structured form. So we're going to say insert, and we just select tables. So once you select this table, it will give you this drop down over here. You have to select the number of rows. So remember, tables consist of rows and columns. So it's always a good idea just to, plan ahead exactly how many rows and columns you want. So for this one, we're going to use 2 by 6. So it's going to be 2 columns by 6 rows. And you'll notice when we've got this, we get an additional tab here at the top. So, the table was not there, but since we're now working in a table, now these table options become visible. So you'll notice here that you get the, to insert the options to insert new rows, delete a row, change the alignment, all that's specific to this table. So remember, if you're working with images as well, if you select the image, it will give you the image options. So always make sure that you are in the, if you want to change the image size, for instance, first select it. So you'll notice here it disappears, but if I click in the table, then suddenly the table option becomes visible. So I'm just going to add the text that we're supposed to add here. So it's act and scene. So we act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just you'll have a look at this information that we need to insert. So it's act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the other side, we just put the play that's within that act. So 5, 2, 4, 7, 2. 5, 2, 4, 7, 2. Okay, so you can say basically this was a questions that you had to add, that you had to map to a certain aspect. So the table is a good way to show this. But you'll see that our table doesn't look very nice at the moment. It's very, very plain. So how can we fix it? We actually give it a styling. So if we select the table option, you'll notice here you can get various styling options. So here at the middle, so you see the standard is the gray and black, but we want to say perhaps have a nice header with blue accent to it. So I'm just select grid table 4 accent 1, and it changes this whole document here for the whole table with a nice heading that stands out. The first column is bolded, and the second one is just the normal text. So that is a great way just to to make your tables that you use easily look very nice. Yeah, so we can move on to our second one. I just see that the one thing that we can also do here, so I can select this whole table, and then I can also align the text to be center. So I'll just select here as align center, so that all my texts are in the middle. So remember, when you want these options, you have to select in the table, and then you've got all the options to align the different text. So the second one that we're going to be doing is just inserting an image. So what's nice about Word these days is you do not need to first go find images and then put them in. You can actually just search directly within Word itself. So what you do is generally, if we say we want the image here by question 2, so I'm just going to make a space before that. So we've got space for our image. So I can just go here, insert. And remember, you've got all these options. So if you want equations, for instance, you can find equations here. There's different symbols, emojis, all the other things that you can also insert, especially also online videos, perhaps. So all falls into the insert tab. So for this one, we want the picture. So I'm going to select search on the web. So you see, you've got all these options. Now, this web, mobile device, OneDrive, if you've got it on your OneDrive somewhere, stock images, or you can select search on the web. So we want to search here. So you'll see it will do a Bing search for images. And this is basically like the Google image search as well. Now, one thing you notice about selecting it from here is you'll see here it's Creative Commons only. So that means you don't need to worry about the copyright. It's already in a zone area or the right permissions that you may use it. Remember, it's still always a good idea to reference the image if you're using it, image from a source. But if you use this, it's also a good way to protect yourself. It's already Creative Commons use. So you may not sell it, but you may use it in your documents. So if I've got my image here, so you see it's very big, but I've now suddenly got this options over here. So you'll notice now, as we had with the table, now we've got the picture options at the top. So here I can set, for instance, its height, its width, or I can just drag and drop over here on it. Remember, you can also give it, for instance, different styling. So I wanted perhaps an oval and look like that one. But I can use these icons here just to scale it to make it smaller on my page. So you'll see there's now a little floating, and it's even got like a shadow at the bottom of the document. So from here, I can then easily also center it. So remember, images are a lot like text. You just go to alignment and you center the image. So I hope you are going to use the online word search for images. So you don't need to go search and download it first and then upload it. You can do it directly from Word. Now, one of the big requirements usually as well is to put in headers and page numbering. So remember, headers you want to appear on every single page, and the page numbering will also display usually at the bottom right or bottom left. So what we're going to do here is we're going to insert these headers, say with our module code, the assignment number, and say your student number. So if I go here, for instance, to my document, it's very easy to insert headers and footers. All you go do is insert, you go header and footer, and then I can type in here what the information that's required. So for instance, here we want module code 1501, assignment number 01. I can just spell it correctly. Luckily, I can see there's a red squiggly, so it indicates it's incorrectly spelled. And they say student number. I'm just going to make it zeros for now. Okay, great. So if we want to close this, I'll just simply click outside of it, and it will close the page numbers again. But if I want to go back, I can just go back to headers and footers, and it will display over here. Now, very importantly, if I go to my document, so I go to the first page, and I go to headers and footers, it's exactly the same. So a lot of times you don't want this to display on every single page. You actually want the first one to be different. So this is where it becomes very important for these additional options. So I'm just going to zoom in quickly. So if we go to additional options, it's here at the little drop down over the year, and I just select different first page. So you'll click on that second option there. So now you notice, oh, it's gone. And it's because you're on the first page. So if I zoom out quickly, so I'm here on the first page. If I go to headers and footers, you'll notice nothing is in there. But if I go to the second page, headers and footers, it also disappeared. Let me just say other pages. There we go. So other pages will be, will have all these, there's header, but the first page will not have anything. So it's a very good way to make sure if you've got numbering that must start on the second page, or you've got headers that you don't want to display on your title page, you can, or your cover page, you can just use it with a different first page. So just a reminder how you get to that. You just click on this options and you say different first page. So you can see there's quite a few options that you can also do from here. You can also remove the header if you don't want to use it. Now the second one that we want to insert is page numbers. Page numbers are also very easy. I usually also a requirement. So I just click on page numbers and I select this option for the bottom right. You'll notice then if it opens up the headers and footers, you've got this hash that indicates that's where the page number will be displaying. So if I now see that my document is saved, I can actually preview it as well. So I'm just going to quickly go to viewing. You'll see here I've got my cover page. There's no numbering on this cover page. I've got the second page, it's got the header, and it's got the page number that starts at 2. And then also my question 2 page with my image. And my final page with the table as well. So as you can see, it's very easy to create documents online. It was a lot the same experience as the app as well on a mobile device. If I want to go back to editing the document, I just select edit and edit. Now, if you sometimes get documents shared to you that's on OneDrive and you don't want to work online, you can also open it up in your Office app. So if I want to continue working, say in my open a desktop app, I just click on that one, say open link. It will then actually open it up in the desktop version. So then once you're done editing into your desktop version, you can just come here and continue editing on the online version. Okay, so that's basically our headers and footers. Now, you have a requirement a lot of times to save a document as a PDF. One of the reasons would be, for instance, if you want to distribute it to somebody that they don't edit the document, you save it as a PDF document. So what we can do on this one, we just go File, Save As, and we download a PDF. So this one saves it very easily to a PDF document. Now, if you're going to be working on the desktop version, this will be a bit different because you will go File, Save a Copy, and then here from the extension menu, just select PDF. So just remember, if you're working in desktop and you want to save it as a PDF, I'm just going to zoom in here a bit. You just go to File, Save a Copy. On the file extension, here, select the drop-down, and then you select PDF. Then it will save as a PDF document that you can open and submit, for instance, for your assignment. So I'm just quickly going to zoom out here. So for this one that we have online, we can now download the document once it says our PDF is ready. So we've got our PDF document. Now for the final, say I want somebody to edit on this document as well, I can always share the document. So for this activity, what you actually need to do is share the link to this document. So I'm just going to go through the sharing options. So I'm just going to quickly zoom in here. So we can share the document directly from here within Microsoft Word on the Word Online. So if I click on share here, it will give me these options. So remember, if you click on this top one, anyone with this link can view. So that means they can only view the document, so they can't edit the document. If I want other people to have editing rights, I must select this can edit option. But since we're going to share this online, we don't want other people to edit the document. So I'm just leave that as can view, and we're going to leave it as anyone. But you can also select specific people. If you want to email a person the link, you select this one, specific people, and then you can write in their email address on here. But since we are going to share this link now for anybody just to view, I'm just going to select anyone. I'm going to make sure that this is a view only. It has an expiration date of 1 year, so I can make that shorter or longer. And you can even add a password to it if you want to really secure the document, that not somebody you don't want to edit the document, that you only share the password with. So I just apply. And then we can copy the link. So remember, once you selected this, you must still copy the link. So you click on here, copy, and it creates this copy link for you. So I can just copy this one. What I can also do, if I go back to my OneDrive, you'll see my document is already here within my OneDrive. So I can also click on this share icon over here, and it gives you exactly the same options again. So you'll see already we've got a shared link on here, one sharing link. So we can always copy the link from here as well. So remember, you can manage your files in OneDrive, and it's the exact same on your desktop as well. So if I go, for instance, to my desktop, if I want to share something, I just right click on it, make sure that OneDrive is running. I can see these are green ticks that they are uploaded, and I just select share. And you will get the same options as what you get on the online version as well. Let's wait for it quickly. And here you can then select, for instance, anyone or a specific person that you want to share with. But since we're now on our online document, I'm just going to share and then copy the link. Copy. And then we can paste this into the activity. So here's just the steps to sharing your document. And then we're done with this activity. So just note this activity has two areas. You've got the activity, create an assignment. This is the steps. The second one, the forum, is where you then have to come and share your document. So it's asking for a PDF format, but I'm just first going to share the link to the document. So what I'm going to do here is just reply. I'm going to put the link. And so this is the link to our Word document. And then I'm going to upload this file that we downloaded as well, so that we can have share the PDF document as well. So if I go back to my OneDrive, so remember we downloaded the file. So I just select here, upload a file. And I go to my downloads. Here's my file that I downloaded earlier, PDF format. I select open. So now we've got our file here, the Word version and the PDF. So say I want to share this PDF version as well. So I just copy on it, click on it. I say again, copy link. I only want people to view. Copy. And I copy that one. If I go back to this activity, I can paste that in there as well. So if I now post to forum, I see I've got these two links. So if I click on the first one, it will open up the Word document. If somebody else opens it, they won't be able to edit it. So I know it's safe. But if I really want to make sure that nobody can edit, I also share the PDF version. And the PDF version, nobody will be able to edit or change anything on here. And I can also submit this PDF document, upload it, say for assignment submissions. So I know now in my Word, I've got now my two documents on here on OneDrive. So I've got UP, the docx, and the PDF. Now, a lot of times you might actually think, okay, wait, say I go, for instance, here, and I delete this. So now that that section is gone. So now, as you see, it saves automatically. You know, and you might be doing some other changes here as well. So you write something new, and then later you realize, wait, I've accidentally deleted this whole section. How do you actually now retrieve what you've done? So you can go undo, 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 you know, with the options to undo, but it will take you quite a while to actually, then you have to redo everything that you did as well. But an easy way, and this is what's so nice when you work on the online version or when your document is synced with OneDrive, it keeps version controls. So I can go to File, Info, Version History. So I'll see here just now, current version. I can go back 9 minutes. I can see, okay, 9 minutes ago, this is what the document looked like. So I can then restore this old version just by clicking on Restore. So we found it quite a lot that people find that they accidentally remove information, they save over it, they work on it a few days later, then they realize there's information that was there that's gone. Remember, the beauty of online is got a version history as well. So it is already backed up all the different changes that you made. So once you've pasted your links into the activity, you are basically done with this activity. So I know most of you probably didn't keep up directly now because it is quite a lot to follow, but please follow the steps online. Complete the activity, paste in your links, then you're done with this specific activity. So just to finish up this section on Word, I'm just going to give you the last question of the day. So remember, we had the previous two, so this is the last one. So this is just how will you be utilizing Microsoft Word in your studies? I'll put the form for you to fill in the chat. So remember, you have to fill it in on the form, not within the chat. So I'm just going to pop that there and then post the form. There we go. So please just reflect in the form, how would you be utilizing Microsoft Word in your studies? And remember, the first 10 all gets a prize from UNISA. While you're busy completing the form, so remember the recording will be made available on the resources site. So we will download it as soon as it's generated. We will download it, upload it to YouTube, and then from there it will be on the site as well. We will put it under day 2. I will be making page breaks. Yes, please use page breaks and not just the enter key. Yeah, let me just quickly see here. Make sure everybody is responding. In the form, in the chat, just fill out the form and just reflect on how you will be utilizing Microsoft Word in your studies. So everyone, I know this was a big one, so please go do the steps that's online, review the recording if you have fallen behind perhaps, paste that links in so that we're ready next week to continue with the next section. So Denzel, from my side, I've already got quite a few responses to the reflection. Thank you, everybody. So I'll hand over back to you.
Thanks very much, Richard, for that. I know it's a lot for our students to take in one go, but I think these are the good ways in which you and both David have contextualized it, the importance of this for our students and how it can benefit them in their studies, but also how those skills can then work in their own space as well. So that actually helps our students and those that are here to see the benefits of some of these tools and the activities that have been shared with you. Now, I know we have the PowerPoint one, but we'll move the PowerPoint one to next week. So please do join us next week, because I think that's going to be an exciting one for many of you, because that actually is a skill that's not just for the university, but a skill for outside as well. And it's already gone almost 1 o'clock, 5 to 1. So we know that we took almost 4 hours, but I think it's been a productive day and a fruitful day for us. I want to thank, as we round up, I want to thank all our students, all our participants that have been with us for the past 4 hours. Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday. You've been excellent with your questions and chats, and it shows that you are actively participating in that. And for us as facilitators in the adult team, the fact that you are participating and engaging, it shows us that we're making a difference. But we really appreciate your commitment to this as well. I want to thank all the colleagues that have been here. But, I want to thank, in addition to David and Richard that have been facilitating, I want to thank Sophie Mabasa. She's been, Sophie, you are remarkable. I've watched how you've been 4 hours in a stretch, standing there and sign languaging. 4 hours without a break. That is amazing and impressive. Sophie, we appreciate you a lot for that. And please, we don't take you for granted. We know that this has been a stretch for you. So we thank you, Sophie, for your commitment on the Saturday, and also for your commitment to the 4 hour stretch. So thank you very, very much, Sophie, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the last session, which is next Saturday, same time, 9 o'clock. And it will also be very practical. So get in, spread the word out. Remember, when you complete all these things, you get a certificate of participation from Microsoft. And that is very important because it gives you the accreditation that you need in your CVs, etc. Right? So next week, the last session, come on board, join, spread the word as well. And we will make it fun. Richard will also announce the winners as well next week as well. The winners will get the promotional, and we'll also run a further promotion next week as well as part of the sessions and the activities. So from our side, just the last word. Also, thanks to Lucas and Pintius for joining us as well. Thanks, Lucas, Pintius, for joining us. Last words, just say thank you to each one of you. Hope you have a great weekend. Just remember to please be safe on Monday. and then Tuesday you got your public holiday as well, so be safe, and we will see each one of you next week Saturday, same time, for our last fulfilling session. Thank you, colleagues, and all our participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good Saturday. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Keep safe. See you next week.